Hello, thank you for the flower. I appreciate it. Can you believe it? It's finale time. I'm totally gonna beat this first try. Totally gonna miss it first try. And or did I say miss it? I'm gonna totally win it first try, beat it first try. I'm not gonna miss it first try. We're tryhards here. I don't know. My OBS seems like smaller than usual. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I haven't looked at it in like a week. I didn't stream on Tuesday, but I really needed the break. I'm gonna take I'll talk about it in a little bit, but I think I'm gonna take a break one of the next 2 upcoming weeks. I don't know if it'll be next week that I take off or the following week. I'm feeling like the following week. Because there's a lot going on. There's gonna be a lot happening. There's so many things happening. All right, the ad is running. I will see you all in just a couple minutes. Hang tight. Also, don't forget to grab firsts and daily tokens and all that good stuff. Pokemon can sometimes drop things when you beat them. Also, you can just leave your Pokemon out of their Pokeball. Can I ride you? That sounds good. That sounds healthy. Oh my god, they're like, I need healing. I need healing. You know what I need? A better team. Oh my god, that was so mean! That was so, I can't believe I said that. Sometimes the things I say are just actually bonkers. I don't know what you're drawing. I don't know what you're drawing, Shelby, but if you have to ask, should I give it a mouth? I don't think you should.
Should I give it a mouth?
Always give it a mouth.
He has a mouth now.
Oh my gosh. We always give it to the supports. I am a support main, which is funny because I keep getting thrown into the tank role. But yeah, I'm a Discord, but I can't fucking talk today. Blah, blah, blah. I do be a Discord kitten, though. Sometimes. I go prrr. I go prrr. Oh my god, I'm dying.
My Halloween hoodie and a Santa hat.
Hi!
I love it. I think
My name's Mr. Eyes. I'm choking.
There we go.
That's all Thanksgiving is.
The Pokémon soundtrack is a real banger, so it makes sense that Ash is gonna catch 'em all.
That's so cute. Cat jam them all. Oh, that's amazing. I love that. Okay. Hello. Hello. I should start this normal and not like a... I mean, I am a fiend, but I shouldn't be a gremlin, right? Hello, everybody. All my friends, fiends, everybody in between or otherwise. I don't know why, but I think my tracking got messed up. Hold it. My tracking always, I feel like it's not a Melissa stream unless my tracking messes up at least once. Okay. Is that better? We'll take it. Wait, it's called combos? Yeah, so I'll address that real quick. I am a part of Twitch's beta for testing their feature called combos. It's supposed to be an upcoming feature, but they do ask that I provide feedback from you all about it. So if you like it, if you don't like it, let me know. I will let Twitch know. I will let them know. But yeah, I do love this Pokemon music. It's so good. There's Pokemon, there's anime. It's just a bunch of good. Whoops. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Twitch on my phone was going crazy. Okay, wait. Not my ringtone. Spotify. There we go. There we go. Also, did your model get the usual cup size increase at every VTuber model? I chose the smallest breast size for this one, I think, other than like flat. It was like flat chest or like slightly boob. I think I did like middle to small. I'm large in real life. I have no problem saying that. You guys see me on camera all the time. I am very large in the chest in real life. Oh, it gave you guys a pop-up? Oh, interesting. So I always actually try to pick a size that's smaller than my IRL. I think I have to get sized, but last time I got sized, I was like a G? I was like a G cup? I am well endowed, we'll say. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, my back is it's not my, I do have back pain, but it's from something else entirely. But I will spare you all the details on that because it's an annoying process that I've been going through most of my adult life. Yeah, no, literally 10 years actually. Yeah, no, literally 10 years I've had back pain. Wild, Dio. Yeah, no, it's not. Also, if you hear me go silent, I have this, like, it's a Sprite, but it has, like, fruit boba in it. And it's pineapple flavored. And it's really good, actually. It's very refreshing. But the little bubble boba things are not easy to pop in my mouth. Jordan! Hi. Jordan, I know you have Del Tacos by you. I don't know if you frequent them at all. But have you tried the, like, pineapple boba thingies that they have right now? I'm drinking one and they're so good. I'm addicted, low-key. They're very fruity. They're very refreshing. I love it. It's very good. I recommend it. They also have lemonade ones if you don't want Sprite. They have lemonade ones with pineapple, which I feel like would be too fruity for me. I am gay. I am a big fruit, but... Oh, okay, you hate it? Okay, good to know. Good to know. Yeah, so real quick, I am there is a pin. Stream's not gonna end until I defeat the final boss. I define what that means. I'm also part of the combos beta, so please feel free to provide feedback about the combos feature, and I will yell at Twitch for you. Yeah, but I have again, this is my first time playing Hollow Knight. I've never played this before. This is my first time going through it, so I am just going to be hammering out that final boss. We're not going to be doing side quests. We're not going to be searching for more charms. What I have is what I have, and that's going to be it. A couple other things before we really get into the thick of it. Either next week or the following week, I will be taking a break. I think it'll be in 2 weeks. I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to take like a week off from streaming just so I can catch up on some other stuff before my big announcement on June 16th. June 16th. Be around, be on Twitter, be in the Discord. Just June 16th. Oh, thank you, Ray.
I give
do.
you bits without using combos out of spite now.
Why did it sound so robo? Thank you, Ray, though. I do appreciate I appreciate the spite bits. We do, you know, honestly, I am filled by rage and spite on more occasions than I'm aware. Oh, and I saw Jordan, you did it too. Ooh. Ooh. That was cool. It like showed me like the little heart and the little dino. Oh, that's cool. I definitely see how it can be annoying. Like I'm looking, I also have my phone up, right? So I can see it. And I do see how you were saying, Ray, it looks like TikTok. It definitely looks like a TikTok live where like, it's just like the little like, oh my gosh, thanks for the rose. Thanks for the, you know, all the other stuff. It is kind of cluttering chat. Ooh. The good thing is, if you don't like that chat, you can just look at my chat on screen. Please tell Twitch to make it not show up in chat. There should be an option to disable it. I'm actually gonna write that down. There should. Cause I'm gonna, after a little bit, I'm gonna let them know, like, hey, here's the feedback that I have to tell them. So, oof. True. Yeah, no, please feel free to continue giving your thoughts. I like hearing both sides because it's good feedback that I think Twitch will want to hear. I know a lot of people hate Twitch. I am not one of those people. I think I like and dislike things about the platform. Every platform I feel about that. YouTube when I did YouTube. Here on Twitch, I've had feelings when I used to do Instagram lives. I had feelings about Instagram, you know, back in the day. Wild how times change. Exactly. So we are gonna just try out the beta for a little bit. If we decide it's too much of a nuisance, I can just very quickly email them, let them know, hey, I want to be removed from the beta, and they will do so. So it's not a big deal. I missed the cryptid videos on YouTube. Oh no. Oh, season 2 that never came to fruition. Here's the thing. I don't think I've grown out of cryptids. I've grown into different genres of like horror and stuff and the unknown, right? I'm really into dinosaur horror right now. Analog and dinosaur horror, I'm like very into right now. And it's a problem because there's things that scare me. Let's talk about the Annabelle doll for a second. Y'all, okay. I claim no bad energy. I do not invite her into my home. I do not do any of that shit. It's on site with a Glock, and I don't even own a gun. Where I am, it's legal to own guns, but I don't own one because fuck that shit. But nah, if the Annabelle doll is missing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the doll that inspired and is based, you know, the Annabelle movies are based off of, yeah, she's fucking missing. They took her on a world tour and she got lost on the way to Texas. So, yeah, she's just fucking gone. Nobody knows where she is. They thought, oh, the box that, you know, we made is just as good for traveling and people are gonna want to see her and we can take her out of the box and people can hold her for pictures. I'm like, fuck that bullshit. Absolutely not. Like, I don't know who thought it was a good idea. Ugh. I can't even. Oh my gosh. But yeah, big announcement on June 16th. And then on June 17th, we'll do a whole stream talking about the announcement because I know there's going to be some questions. I know there's going to be some curiosities. And I know that there's going to be some additional information that people are going to want to know. And then on the 20th, I'm a part of a raid train. I'm a part of a Pride raid train called the Oshi train. Because I'm your Oshi. But yeah, I'm gonna be a part of a Twitch Creator Club event. So I'll have more details as those come out for you all, but I'm very excited. Yay! Oh my gosh. No, not me. I need to... Oh, my Discord didn't go into streamer mode. That's why I'm still getting pings. Okay, do not disturb. Whoopsies. I was like, why am I still getting pings? All right, I think it is time for me to do... Did I do prediction? Prediction is up. Don't forget to do prediction. Don't forget to grab your daily token. Let me know again how y'all feel about the beta that we are in, and let's get into it, shall we? Where is blah, 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 blah? Here we go. Here we go. Hello. I'm down here now. Alrighty. Welcome, everybody. It is finale time, and we will not be stopping stream until I beat this goddamn game. Yes. We will not be stopping. Why is Fugi up? I always disable Fugi, and Fugi always gets re-enabled. I don't know why. No bed till final boss is dead. Exactly. No bed till final boss is dead. Let's enjoy the music one more time. Because we're not seeing the screen again. It's not gonna happen. Okay. Why are we in the Quinn's? I don't remember what we were doing. Oh, I do remember what I was doing here. Whoopsies. I did try... Do we have game audio? I just turned it on. Let me know if you guys can't hear it. Can you not hear it? Should be like a groan. Uh-oh. How's that? Can you hear him? He's pretty loud. Good? Okay. Yippee! 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 You guys can hear? Okay. Let me know if it's too loud. It feels loud to me, but I always can just turn it down. So. Okay, so I am just gonna set up my charms now. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 notches. So. Balder Shell needs to be a must. I also want... I gain soul when taking damage. I'd like the 2 extra, so I am gonna try that to start. And then we have 4 left. You can either do Long Nail, Heavy Blow, Mark of Pride, freely given by the Mantis tribe to those they respect. Greatly increases the range of the bearer's nail, allowing them to strike foes from further away. Fury of the Fallen embodies the fury and heroism that comes upon those who are about to die. When close to death, the bearer's strength will increase. Sprint Master, Dash Master, don't really need those. Shamans, that just increases my magic. Or my spells. Okay, Soul Catcher, don't really need that, I guess. Maybe I do, I don't know. I don't feel like it really matters in a boss fight, you know? This, I don't want to start with this, but the shape of this one, where I can move around while healing, we might try that on a later attempt, you know? Are you planning on quitting this game after beating the final boss? Because there's lots left to do. Like, I don't want to spoil, but there's important things to still do after beating the boss you want to beat. So, for stream purposes, yes. This is going to be the final Hollow Knight stream, but that doesn't mean that I won't explore more in my free time. Like, I'm not planning to get every single thing on stream today, but I'm just trying to beat the boss here, because I want to move on to other things, and I just don't feel like I can do that until I beat a boss. I know there's more than one final boss. I don't know how things are gonna go. I don't know how things are gonna go, so we're just gonna do our best, and the ending that we get is the ending that we get, because I know there are multiple endings. I don't know exactly what the endings are. I just know some of the ways to get certain endings. Okay, I think I'm gonna do... I think I'm gonna go Long Nail. Not the glowing. I don't think I have another one, right? What's this one again? This. Yeah, Stalwart Shell, actually. That's pretty good. Okay. So we're gonna go up. We go to Dirtmouth. Dirtmouth! Dirtmouth, 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 Dirtmouth. I swear to say. I was just saying, I got like the weird fruit boba in my teeth. But it's so good! Ah, it's so good. Hello, Genesis! Welcome, welcome on in! Thanks so much for grabbing a bronze token. Oh, so sorry. I don't think I said what tokens everybody else got. I don't know. I'm sorry. My chat's a little... My OBS is a little sensitive, we'll say, so I don't feel confident in my ability to get it. Okay. There is one thing that I need to do every time before going in. And I know what y'all are gonna say, Melissa, you're gonna waste so much of your dream stuff. It does not matter. I don't have the 1600 or whatever that I need, so it does not matter. Does not matter. So, we're gonna set things up here. Oops. Yippee! 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 Okay. How do I set it? It's like this, right? Yeah. There we go, there we go, there we go. Yay! Got a triple token! Woo! It counts for 3. Got 125 now. Let's go. Oh my goodness. I know, I forget my token all the time too. I used to get them all the time. Now I don't as much. I should get them more often. But I also just like use myself for testing all the time, so it's like, it's not fully accurate, you know? No, but yeah, I ended up not beating him. The bosses we tried to beat last time, I did not beat. So, it is time to face the Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight, Hollow Knight. It happens. It happens. You know, the tokens are... They are a thing. Also, I keep saying this like every month where I'm like, I will get you your stickers that you are all owed. I will. I keep forgetting. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to forget. They will get issued out. I'll probably do it in the middle of trying to see if I can switch all the points over to StreamerBot. That's probably when I'll do that. But, fun fact before we go into this boss fight, I have not played this game in like 2 weeks. You know what that means. First try! First try, babies! Hello! Oh, Screechy boy! Oh, Screechy boy! Screech! Whoop. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Come on. Ah, shit. Okay. I actually was not doing terrible to start off. Come on. Come on. Come on. Nice. Okay. Come on. Woohoo! I'm actually not winning. Oh, shit. I hate when he grounds me. You're not my real dad. Okay. Nice. Wait, what the fuck? Why am I? Okay, never mind. Whoop. Okay, never mind. I'm choking. I had a very good start. You all can agree I had a very good start, right? Shit. Come on. Shit. Come on. There we go. Okay, so that's how I do that. What? Shit. Come on. Nice. Okay, actually, I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with that. That's fine. Woohoo! Come on. No, come on. No, I did the up scream again. Come on. Come on! What? Wait, am I actually gonna do this first try? Nice. Come on. You can't be this easy. There's no way. Come on. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way, right? No! Don't upscream me. Also, hi, Lycan. Why did he... What? Why did he just... Why did he stab himself? What the fuck is happening? What were those on him? Whoa, I have questions. Oh, I have questions, I have questions, I have questions, and I don't want answers. Shit. Come on. Does he not want to actually hurt me? That's crazy. That's crazy. Shit. This is actually the farthest I've gone. Okay, come on. This is crazy. This is crazy. No! Okay, wait. Why did I do so good on my first try? Why did I actually do really good? Oh my god. That was literally... It's the playlist buff. You know you're right. Now that I got that far, it's gonna take me forever to get back. Okay. Let's do... How do I do the... It's up, right? Yeah, it's up. I gotta grab these. Beautiful. Wait. There we go. I was like, wait, I get 2 here. Oh, whoops. Ooh, maybe I should fight some bad guys before going in so we get some extra soul to start. But honestly, I did really good. Also, hi, Lycan. Like, not to toot my own horn, but I think I did pretty good for the first try of the night. Don't forget, when I do die, please, somebody in chat do !death. D-E-A-T-H. We do have a death counter, and I do want to know what number of deaths we end at. Thank you so much. Why did it start stabbing itself, though? Like, the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Also, again, sorry if I pause randomly. I still have, like, this boba stuff that I'm eating. You know what? Fuck it. We're gemstoning in there. Let's go. Let's go. Kidding. Haha. You think I have a death wish? A little bit. Yes, I do. Just a little. Just a teensy one. All right. I think I can do this, though. That felt very winnable. Woo! Okay, okay, big boy, big boy. Shit, shit, I lost my jump. Ah, I did the up scream again. That's my biggest thing, is I do the up scream a lot instead of the other stuff that I should. Like that, that's what I try to do. Come on. Ah, stop it. Oh shit, oh, wait, I went right where I shouldn't have. That's fine. Okay, nice, nice. Oh, wait. I don't need to do that yet. I don't need to do that yet. Hold on, I'm doing so much worse. Why am I doing so much worse? Why am I doing so much worse? I did so much better. Ah! I did so much better before. Come on. Come on. I gotta figure out his timing better with these. Because I can do it. It takes a second. I hate those. I hate those so much. Okay. So it's best to get on top of him for these, right? Because I cut him off early. But if I can't get him early, then it's best to, yeah, it's best to like go long and get some distance. Okay. I'm learning here. God damn, he broke my shell. Rude. 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 Okay, well, let's just go as far as we can. Scary. Okay. Oh, he's stabbing himself again. Okay. Bro, I don't know what issues you got, but leave me out of it, you know? I said leave me out of it. Boop. Come on. Why is he, like, that's my question. Why is he, does he want to stab himself? That's a terrible question that I should be, that I'm asking, but like, it's something I would like an answer to. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Come on. Come on. Oh, I'm dying. I don't know how I didn't get hit, but I am grateful. Come on, my guy. Come on. Woo! No! Guys, why am I doing good? Why am I doing good? Why am I doing good? It's crazy. I've never been good at the game, right? We all know this. We all know this to be a fact. Never been good at the game. Why am I getting so far? Maybe Ray was right. Maybe Ray was onto something. Maybe it is the no play buff. So, okay, hold on. I'm gonna go here. The long nail's definitely helpful. The rust buff, yeah, I'm shaking off the rust. Makes you smoother after. Definitely need this, right? Like, okay. These two feel like non-negotiables. These have to be on me, I feel. Now the question is, also this like has to be on me. So it's like, what do I do for those last four? So we kind of learned the hive blood kind of sucks. It's better for like traveling from place to place. Shape, this one is a good option. Like, sorry, not the Dream Shield. Like if I did a little bit of this and this, that could be a good evasive build for me, but I don't know. I need to be aggressive. I don't feel like I need to be evasive with this. So I'm almost wondering if I go for something like Heavy Blow instead. But like, I don't feel like this would be really apply because it's about recoil and bosses don't recoil. I don't know. What would you guys do with what I have here? Guide me. I don't want to do any of the fragile ones because I don't want them to break. Like, I could also go this and do Soul Catcher instead. So I get more soul to use in general. You know, I'll give that one a try. No idea. Got it. Okay. Let's go for it. I'm not gonna go back this time because we're just trying out this build. So I don't want to waste time going back, getting the hearts, just to come back. You know? Okay. Alright, let's do it. Whoop! That was a mistake. Okay. Need to... Oop. Okay, come here. Come on. Whoops, I did the thing again. Come on. I really gotta stay in the air here. But even then I have to be careful. Because he might decide to randomly jump. Oh, I did the thing again! I'm sure asking for help in this game would be a detriment than a... You know, you never know. You never know. Okay, I have so much soul. I have so much soul. I have so much soul. There we go. Whoop, heal. I'm gonna die. Yeah, I'm gonna die. Whoop! Yeah. Okay. That's more on par. I'd be the one to go in there screaming, Leroy Jenkins, with the most random things attached. So pretty sure you don't want a Leroy Jenkins. You know, maybe I need a Leroy Jenkins. Maybe that's what I need. We don't know what I need. we don't really know, truly, what I need here. Thank you for the death. Okay, now I'm getting too much soul is the problem. So here, let's give that another good, let's give it the old college try, shall we? I'm gonna get a sip of water here. I've not drank water this entire time. Just my little boba drink. My little non-boba boba drink. My very fruity drink. Okay, well, off to a swimming start. I think I need to be more patient. I think that's something else, is I need to be more patient. In my attacks. I need to be more patient and more deliberate, I think. Let's see. Because, come to think, he's not too difficult to dodge right now. It's later on. See, like, this stuff is the harder stuff to dodge. Ah, why'd he jump again? He hadn't been jumping lately. Okay, I'm gonna heal. Come on. Ah, shit, I thought I had that. Come on. Why is he jumping? Okay. Come on. Ah, shit. Okay, I went the wrong way. I keep forgetting I can do the shadow thing through enemies. I keep forgetting that's a thing I got. Okay. Yeah, so like I can just, if I time it right, I won't take damage from that. The problem is timing it right. Heal, heal, heal. Shit, okay. Come on. Well, no harm, no foul. Healed what he took. That's fine, that's fine. I fought Hornet. Hornet was tougher than you. Come on. No! Okay, he's gonna stab himself. I'm gonna heal. He can just stab himself all day if that's what he really wants to do. I will not be a part of it. Oops. Okay, that's hard to dodge. Come on. Come on. See, like, look, I can dodge through him now. There we go. Come on. Shit. Woo! I don't know how I'm dodging all that. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. Wrong thing. Did an up scream on accident. That's okay. Whoop, 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 whoop. I don't know what's going where, so we're, oop. You know, I did a pretty good job dodging that. I'm not gonna lie. So these are easy, just back and forth, it knocks him down. Oh shit, okay, I actually would have had that pretty decently if I just didn't mess up. That's my bad. Whoops, okay, I'm getting sloppy, I was getting so sloppy. Don't bounce on me! Oh my gosh. I was not doing terrible. I think this is doable tonight. This feels the most doable that it has ever felt. And I don't know why it's clicking, but it is. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna get a little sippy. I also have french fries. Just chilling on my desk. Ah. Zap, you made me choke on my boba. Hi, Zap. Hi, y'all. How are we? I'm actually not doing bad. Glad you didn't die. Oh, you mean in real life? I was like, you came in at me dying. I don't know what you're talking about. I looked away when you had full health, then suddenly death. You know, that sounds about right. Yeah, it's like these, I'm learning I don't know how to eat boba. I'm out of my Sprite, and it's just the little pineapple bobas now. They have like this weird, like they're in like that weird shell casing, you know? They're very good, but a little annoying to eat. I don't know. I don't really drink like actual boba because I don't like tea. I know, blasphemy. I'm not a big tea person. I'd like to like tea. I just don't. But how do you eat your boba? Like, do you sip boba chunk, sip boba chunk, sip? Like, don't you get to the end and there's still like boba left in there? Like, what do? Do you just like slurp it up? Because that's kind of what I'm doing. Ah. They're very gushy. Also, isn't boba like normally like tapioca pudding? Do pudding and tea even go together? I don't know. I was watching on TikTok for a while. And for me, it's whatever comes through the straw I deal with. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if like there's people who are like, I go for the boba first, and then I drink my tea, or like I drink all my tea, then I eat all my boba, or like you like, and just whatever comes through, comes through. I'm definitely overthinking this. I just want to eat the rest of this boba. That way I'm not distracted by it. Because I will be distracted by it the rest of the night. If I don't do this. I also have fries to snack on though. But I'm not going to snack on them right now. Because I don't want to get all like greasy and salty from the fries, you know? Oh god, they're not coming out. They're like stuck to the bottom. How do I do this? Okay. Like, no, I can't do that. Yeah. Okay. I got the lid off. Ah! The lid smacked me in the face! Okay, I'm good. No, they're all stuck on the bottom. Hold on. Sorry. This is the Melissa's trying to eat boba that she doesn't know how to eat. And there's no more liquid in the container other than the boba themselves. So I'm gonna try. There's like 50 of these pearls. They're not very large. They're like the size of like a little aspirin. That's like the size each of them are roughly, like half of an aspirin tablet. But that's a lot to put in your mouth at one time. That's a lot of balls. Do not clip this out of context. That was too many balls to be putting in my mouth. Do not clip that out of context. Do not use that out of context. Don't make a GIF. Don't make a meme. That is not what I need to happen. Okay. I'm almost there. Okay, that was a lot easier. I did a smaller mouthful. I swear I'm not trying to say things sus, it's just as my brain formulates it and it's already out my mouth, I realize. Okay, should be like 2 more bites though. Okay. No! Also, I love just the ominous music, and then I'm just like, I'm trying to eat my oh my god, wait, you guys. Deadass, my boba is the same color as, like, all the infected spores in this game. Deadass. Like, it's literally the exact same color. Here, wait. I'm gonna take a picture. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I gotta go over here, we gotta take a picture. And I'll show you. I'll show you. Okay? You see all of these? I'm gonna take a picture and put it into Discord. I have a straw in my mouth. Okay, let me do this. They're the same color. They are the same color. Same color. New friend in the Discord? Hello, hello. Welcome on in. Okay, I'm posting it. I'm posting it in media share. Same color. Same color. Oop. Oop with an extra P. You guys! Okay, while we're just taking a little detour here. You guys. I am 51 episodes away from being caught up on One Piece. It will happen next month. It will happen next month. I will catch up on One Piece. And you know what that means? I promise that when I finish One Piece, I am gonna do a whole stream, one stream, talking about and explaining the entirety of One Piece, along with some of my theories, because there are theories to be made in One Piece. You should be very proud of me. It's taken 2 years to get to this point. 2 years. Listen! One Piece, the fandom is a cult, okay? The good part of the fandom is a cult. I'll be the first to tell you that. We're all psychotic. But also, Oda is just goated. Like, holy shit. I don't tend to remember episode numbers that much, but I will always remember 1071. Episode 1071. God damn. Gave me so many questions. And it was great because I made a crack theory, like, I think around like the Alabasta arc. And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if this? And apparently, Strabby the whole time, ever since I said that, has been like, yeah, sure would be crazy, huh? Those who know what I'm talking about, it's the big reveal. I actually clocked that shit. And I was very proud of myself. So there's a trend actually with me. And I finished my boba, so now we will get back to the game, and I will talk about this as we're playing the game. So something to know about me is I have a lot of nickels. Not in real life, just like, you know the saying, like, if I had a nickel for every time blah blah blah, I'd have 2 nickels. Well, I would have a bunch of nickels because I often predict things because of my literary knowledge. And it's caused me to predict plot twists in media multiple times. Multiple times. If varying things. So for my best example I can give you is if you have seen the movie Alien Covenant, you know that there's a synth in it, right? And he does a very famous poem. He says a very famous poem. He says, oh god, I'm blanking now because it's been a hot minute since I've read it. But he does the poem of Ozymandias. And if you know that, you know that. Like, I am Ozymandias, King of Kings, you know, something look on in despair, like all of that, right? And very good poem, good poem. I'm not a big poetry fan, but I do like that poem. So the thing is, synths are never wrong. They like cannot be wrong. It's in their programming to basically never be wrong because they have so much information, right? Like they just cannot. It's like good AI. Google, but like actually works. Essentially, right? And I predicted the plot twist that the synth, you know, spoilers for Alien Covenant, it's been out for like what, 10 years now? You should have seen it by now. But yeah, I predicted that the synth was evil because he got the author wrong. And I remember being in theaters and I watched it with my brother. And I was like, they got that wrong. I was like, that wasn't, I can't remember. It was Byron and Shelley, right? And I can't remember if they said like Byron or Shelley, but whatever they said was the wrong one. And I was like, that's not correct. Like, that's weird. I don't think they can trust him, you know? I think he had something to do with like the bad things happening, right? And I totally clocked it because then the reveal happens because the person in the movie knew the poem and was like, oh yeah, actually it's this person. And then like it starts a big old fight scene, right? So that's like my most notable moment of like being able to clock shit from my literary knowledge. It has happened multiple times in One Piece because I'm like, oh, this is that scene. You know, I'm like, oh, this is this moment from this book. Or this is this moment from this poem. Or this is this moment from this song. Like, I have clocked so much shit in One Piece before or as it's happening. And I'm like, god damn, maybe I'm goated and I just didn't know it, you know? Nice, nice, I got this. I'm locked in, I'm locked in, I'm locked in. I gotta do like this It's this weird double bounce situation I gotta do where it's like this, and then I like jump again. Like, watch this. It's like, boop. Oh, I didn't do it right. Boop, boop, jump, like that. Because otherwise, if he jumps after me, he'll hit me. Damn it. Yes, AI not corrupted by the masses, exactly. Just, the Wayland Corporation instead. It just somehow worse. Oop. Did he dodge that because he teleported? God damn it. Oh, I was trying to get into this gap. Shit. Haha, bitch. Ah, bitch. Oh, whoops. I forgot. And boop. Heal. Oh, I was healing. Hello. Whoops. Okay, maybe, I don't think this is the run, y'all. I don't think this is the run. Why was my first run the best run? Come on. Oh my god, you're kidding me. I did the up scream again. No. I'm just gonna let him kill me. I'm just gonna let him kill me. Actually, I don't think I have much choice. Woo! How'd I live? How'd I live? How'd I live? Where is he? Oh, gosh. How am I alive? How am I alive? Hello, 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 hello? How in the hell am I alive? Okay. That was insane, actually. Come on. Come on, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this. Darn it, darn it, darn it, come on. Okay. Wow! I really lived on one. So he's actually giving me time to heal there, which is very interesting, story-wise. Oh, darn it. Come on. Woo! Oh god, okay, I ran into that, I ran into that, I ran into that. Okay. Whoopsies. Whoops, that was my bad, that was my bad. I really shouldn't kick him while he's down, you know? I should stab him while he's down instead. Might work out better for me. Okay, let's heal, heal, heal. This is my healing era. This is when he's doing all that-ish, that's when I need to heal. Right, he's gonna do this. We're good, just keep moving, keep moving. Okay, that's fine, okay. Fuck, okay, that's fine. It's fine. Come on. Come on! Woo! Okay, he's stabbing, he's stabbing, he's stabbing. Nice. I'm actually doing pretty good. I'm happy with my progress right now. Oh darn, okay, he's yelling. Heal. He's stabbing more. Whoops. I feel guilty. He's getting weaker. Come on. Oh. There's no way this is... Oh. What? No way I just did that. There's no way. That was like my worst run. Oh shit! What? Defeat the Hollow Knight and become the vessel. Okay, I didn't think I was gonna beat that in less than an hour. I'm dead ass. I thought I was gonna be here all night. Oh. You know what helped? I was talking about One Piece. That was the... Wow. Okay, hold on. I wanna... Let's... Oh. Hollow Knight. We finished it. I'm confused on a lot of things. I'll be honest. There's a lot of things in this game that confused me. Because it feels like they really threw a lot of the lore at us, like, right at the end, you know? Hold on, what happens if I... Wait, I don't want to, like, skip the credits, but, like... Maybe we skip the credits, you know? Skipping credits is not an option! Okay, let's go. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I normally do always watch the credits for any game I play, you know? I am the person who also goes to a movie and, like, stays until the credits. Not even for end credit scenes, just I stay for the end. Okay, so yeah, no, that was actually my worst run. And yet, we won. Okay, I have thoughts about Hollow Knight. I'm gonna be real, I think Hollow Knight's a little bit overhyped. I'm also not a big fan of, like, Metroidvania games, I guess. I like Metroid Prime. That's the closest I'll get to, like, Metroidvania, type games and stuff. I'm also just not, I like platformers, but I'm not very good at them, right? Now, Hollow Knight's also one of those things, let's talk about the positives. I love the music, right? Some of the characters are really adorable. Like that little grub girl, I think she's really funny. That she's like a little fangirl for all the knights and stuff. Like that's so cute to me, you know? Hollow Knight fan base would like to know your location. Wow, 2,158 backers. That's insane. Congratulations. Well done on achieving this great feat. You persevered and you triumphed. We hope you enjoyed yourself in the world of Hollow Knight. We'll meet again soon on the road ahead. Ooh. Game completion. Percentage 79%. 53 hours, 2 minutes and 57 seconds! It took me so long! It took me so long, you guys! Steel Soul blah blah. Steel Soul mode unlocked. No shade, no reviving. Death is permanent. The ultimate y'all I would die to some random spike, you guys. That's crazy. Steel Soul run next. Whoa! Oh, it's all changed. It's all different now. For giggles, how do I... No reviving death. Let's try this. Let's see how far we get before I die. Let's just skip that. I'm gonna die before we even get to like the real area. Let me watch this back. Now that we've become the knight. So the question is, why did the infection start? Because I know we beat the vessel thingy at one point, but like, there isn't really a clear answer as to like, why? Because if the vessel was an optional fight for us, technically. We didn't have to beat it. That's probably why so many people are waiting for Silksong. Because is it going to add to the story of this game? Or is it a new story entirely? Because from what I've read of Silksong, it's supposed to be like a different location entirely. So I don't know. Alright, Steel Soul. Let's see how far we get. And then I'll just kind of talk about my feelings about the game. God, it sucks only having 5. No. I can heal though, right? It's just no reviving. Oh, that sucks. So I think the things that the game does well is like, things make sense, you know, in the gameplay mechanics for the most part. It takes time for me on some things, and some things I just completely forgot. But that's more of a me. Oh God, I just tried to dash and I couldn't dash. That sucked. But yeah, like there's... Oh. Whoop! I don't have dash. I don't have dash. God, that's, oh. Yeah, no, I can understand. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't hate this game, but I don't love it. But I think it's a me issue. It's a me issue, for sure. Because the story, I think the thing I don't like is the story feels like it was just kind of thrown at me at the end, like the main story, right? When I'm playing a game, I want story throughout, not just like at the end. Like I feel like we got story at the beginning and then, oh, okay. Ah, shit, I gotta go around. I feel like I got story a little bit at the beginning and then it all just kind of went away. God, I miss not having dash and everything. I miss my upgrades, y'all. I miss my upgrades. This does have story throughout. It's just hidden around the world. I guess I'm not a fan of like the way this game does environmental storytelling then, because I feel like there's Blink and I'll miss it then. Yes, actually I do have my friend gifted me all the Ori games. So I do have the Ori games, and I've seen very long time ago, I've seen playthroughs of the first one, of the first Ori, but I didn't even know there was a second one until like a year ago. Which is really cool, because I remember liking the vibes of Ori and the Blind Forest, so I will probably play it at some point. Oh yeah, I gotta talk to this guy, right? Yeah, blah blah blah. Hi, Elderbug. Blah blah blah. But yeah, no, I am interested in playing Ori. I don't know if I would play Ori on stream though. That's my thing. I don't think I would play Ori on stream. Gosh, it's weird seeing the town all shut in like this. Let's go this way. Yeah, I mean, I definitely know there's definitely things that I will miss, I don't understand, you know? Things that don't always make sense to me, and that's fine. I will say, I don't feel like this is the kind of game where I'm supposed to fully understand it the first time I play it, right? And I know I didn't get the true ending. I think I got a bad ending, in all honesty. Us becoming the Hollow Knight and being trapped in there. So I was right. We are the Hollow Knight. But yeah, like, I don't think that, I don't think I got a good ending. And so this is definitely a game I would have to play again and try to get a different ending. You should, I think, like to think of myself being able to control my emotions and or it made me cry on stream. Did it really? Oh no. A green path. But yeah, like, I'm glad I played this. Is he gonna shoot your little ball guy? Okay, he's not gonna do it yet because he's an asshole. But yeah, like, I don't dislike this game. I think there's just a lot of questions that aren't answered, and I think that's frustrating to me. Because, I mean, I can handle something that's like the first part, right? And it's clear that there's more to come. But there isn't necessarily, it's not necessarily clear that there's more to come with this, right? So I think that's where I'm a little frustrated with the storytelling in this. And again, I'm not saying this game is bad. I think this is a good game, and it's definitely loved by the people who love it. I just happen to be somebody who doesn't necessarily love this game, and that's okay. And that's okay. Oh, this is where I die. God, I was editing the first episode of the Hollow Knight playthrough, and it was so funny because I thought this was like a boss fight, and I was like, oh my god, it's a boss fight, I can win, I can win. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, I can do it, I can win. I could not, and it was not a boss fight. I thought that was kind of funny. Like, going back and watching, I was like, ah, silly Melissa. Silly little Melissa from last year. Because that's when we started this game, was fucking last year. But yeah. I don't know. How would you guys rank this game? But also, like, how many times have you played this game is also another good question. Oh, there's a thing up there. I don't think I can get up there yet. No, I cannot. Okay. Whoop. Whoop. I hate going the long way. I miss having dash. I miss all my upgrades. For me, this is easy. 9.7 out of 10. Really? Wow. Okay, let me put this into perspective. My favorite games ever are Pokemon Emerald, okay? And Borderlands 2. I got some variety, right? To be honest, I never played this game because I was never a fan of the art style, but just from watching the gameplay, it's a solid 8 for me. Really? 2 GOAT games there. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, they are. I have good taste in games. So, as of right now, like, again, I don't hate this game. And I think it is a game that you need to play more than once. And it's a game that, the more you play, the more you'll learn. I don't think I sat at a bench until now. Oh wow, I need 1. The Hollow Knight gameplay is very responsive, and it almost always feels like what you want to do is actually what you do. It can, but there were also times where I did get frustrated with the controls because I was like, wait, that isn't what I wanted to do, and I ended up doing different things. But again, I feel like that is more player error on my part than it is the game necessarily. Like, I am willing to, I'm willing to acknowledge my fault, right? This is where the first boss is, yeah? I can't remember. Oh, can I fight this guy? Ooh. He's scary without my dash. I keep pressing the dash button, and I don't have a dash. Gosh, I wish I did more damage. I wish I did more damage. But I'll take that. I'll take that. Okay, maybe that's an issue of me having 500 hours in it. That's fair. If you've played this game for 500 hours, I definitely understand. It's like, I've played Animal Crossing for like 1,000 hours. You start to understand the mechanics and how they feel like it's breathing at that point, you know? Alright, let's go fight the boss. Let's go fight the boss. So I can just fight him now, right? Oh, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good. Okay. This is probably where we die. Come on. Oh. He feels so slow. Was he always this slow? No, he wasn't. He was never this slow. Oh, I can't jump. Oh, shit. He was not always this slow. He feels so slow. He feels so slow. This is not how slow he was. No, you're lying to me. You're gaslighting me. Oh, are we gonna die? This is not how slow he's always been. Absolutely not. No, he's not. No. No. There's no way. There's no way he was always this slow. There's no way. I refuse. I'm gonna die. Whoop. That was a good run, wasn't it, y'all? There's no way he was always that slow. In attempting defeat, one does push their courage. May your shade at last find rest. Not the new death counter. Wow, 150 deaths. That's crazy. But yeah, I guess I'll just sit on the screen for a little bit. I was expecting to stream for like 3 hours tonight. So I don't know. I like how they make you feel like you achieved something, even on the Steel Soul death screen. Yeah, that was... So wait, what I want to know... I do like that, actually, that they make you feel accomplished no matter what. So, can I go back here? Oh, you can. Wait, does it just take you back to the fight? Oh, it does. Okay, I'm just gonna let him kill me. I'm just gonna let him kill me, it's fine. Let's see how long it takes for him to kill me. When I'm standing still. But yeah, I think Hollow Knight does have a special place in people's hearts, and it's definitely something that I feel like the more I sit on it, the more I'm gonna think about certain things from this, but let me talk about what I think is the story for the most part, right? So, we arrive for some reason from somewhere else, right? We arrive from somewhere else. I don't know where we come from. I'm going to guess we come from the same place that Hornet came from. But Hornet got here after us. That's what I have to assume, right? That's what I have to assume. Is that we all came from the same place. But then the question is, where did we come from if we originally came from here? Where did we leave to? When and why did we leave? Those are the questions that aren't answered, right? Then other questions that come up too are, we understand what Hollow Nest kind of is, right? Like, this is Hollow Nest. But we understand the thing with like the Pale King and all of that ish too, right? Like, but I don't love how it's done, I think. things I like in this. I love the area where there's all the water, but not like the groundways. Like the area that's like raining. That's my favorite area in the game. I love that. I love that place. Just I don't know. I'm still stuck. Like I feel like the stag has the most fleshed out story of any other story or stories in the game. The Stags is very like sad, you know, the fact that he's the last of his kind and he's stuck here. Well, he chooses to stay. But yeah, it's weird. It's also the ending that we got. I don't know what the other endings are. The way this was playing up was as if we were going to save everybody and everybody was gonna either Hallownest was gonna become a safe haven again for people, or it was going to, we were going to save everybody and they were going to come with us to, again, wherever we came from at the beginning. So there's questions about that. There's things that aren't super clear. You know what I mean? Big yawn. Big yawn. Like, hopefully that makes sense. You haven't gotten some major lore drops, though. Well, I was trying to do... I want to look up something that's like, what is the story of Hollow Knight? I'm cool with spoiling myself. What is the story of Hollow Knight? So I will tell you all this now. I did watch a video of all the 5 endings that I could have gotten. I didn't understand what any of them meant, and even now I don't understand the one that I fully got. Other than I feel like I took the Hollow Knight's place. If you want all the Hollow Knight lore and you're not afraid of spoilers, there's a really, really good YouTube video, the mostly complete lore of Hollow Knight. Let me look it up. The mostly complete lore of Hollow Knight. It's like an hour. Yeah, do we want to react to this? I'm totally cool with doing a little React Andy moment. Let's do a React stream. I mean, hey, I was gonna stream for like 3 hours, and I can like speed it up. So hold on, let me get this pulled up here. Because I do have questions. I do have questions, and I do want them answered. I'm gonna go ahead and close out of the game now as well. Just so I don't have so many things running on my computer at once. Okay, let me get this pulled up here. Let me go to gaming. And then we'll pull up here. Let's learn the story together. So I want to know what the fuck is going on. Okay, let me do... Here, let me separate this out, by the way. Okay. It's by Mossbag, right? That's what we said? Yeah, Mossbag. Okay, cool. Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to switch. Why did it say stream ending? That is not the one I meant to click on. My apologies. Intermission. Look at Ace. I'm sorry. I was like setting this up and I didn't even realize. I'm so sorry. Okay. So I want to go here. I want to go here. We're going to do this, but we're going to go this. Transform fit to screen. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of this. And hold on. I want this to be like... It's not gonna be perfect. Center... Oh no, I want it centered horizontally. That's what I want. Hold on, let me just move this down. I want to get it like the best I can without it being like annoying for everybody. And then we'll do center horizontal. Okay, perfect. I think that's as good as we're gonna get it. Let me change the audio so that we can have... Where is it? Where is my audio? I gotta find the tab. Okay, I'm gonna turn off Hollow Knight audio. Is it under necessities? Browser. Okay, Chrome is on here. Okay, cool. Let me bring us back over here. We can all see this okay? Oh, whoops. Hold up. There we go. We can all see this okay? I feel like I should move myself. I'm gonna move myself over here. Hi, I'm in the little corner down here. Hi! Okay. Now I can actually look in this direction and be watching with you all. Okay, I need to make some changes to the stream. The Hollow Knight. What the fuck was that game? Reacting. And then make a stream marker. I'm gonna do this like, what, just chatting now, I guess? Okay. I'm gonna snooze this. Okay. We're gonna watch this. I don't know how much of this we're gonna watch, but I am curious. So, yeah, we're gonna watch a little bit of this at least. Make sure this is unmuted. Okay, cool. Oops. Warning, this video contains a few spoilers for Hollow Knight. Please bear that in mind before embarking on this journey. Or don't. I really don't care. I am just text on a screen. Got it. Got it. Close second. Oh, you guys don't have sound? Why is the sound not... Let's try that again. Let's try that again. Okay. Can you hear it now?
His inclusion here doesn't change the gameplay at all, but instead gives the player...
Y'all could hear that? Okay, cool. Okay. I am also gonna run this a little bit faster. I'm gonna run this at like 1.25 speed, okay? Woo! Okay. Warning, this video contains a few spoilers for Hollow Knight. Please bear that in mind before embarking on this journey, or don't. I really don't care. I am just text on a screen.
If you were to ask me, what is your favorite video game ever made? I would have to say Cory in the House for the Nintendo DS.
This was a good joke.
But Hollow Knight would be a close second. Hollow Knight was released on February 24th, 2017 by Team Cherry, an indie game studio based in the mythical land of Adelaide, South Australia.
By the way,
over the past 3 years, Hollow Knight has
games.
become an indie darling.
So
the
I
game
do
has sold over
appreciate it.
3.5 million copies. It was the opening game at ADGQ 2019. There's a Hollow Knight book, a line of plushies, t-shirts, nicotine patches, nuclear warheads,
I do
and
like
even
the
vinyl
grub
records for all you
plushie. I
goddamn
would get
hipsters.
that.
Team Cherry had one goal when making Hollow Knight. They wanted to create a world that allowed players to get completely lost in exploration. We can see this desire in Hollow Knight's design.
You do
The
get
levels in
lost
Hollow Knight
quite
are
a bit.
massive, with secrets and rewards hidden in every nook and cranny, be that powerful charms, special abilities, or, the game's navigation system requires the
Rancid
player
eggs.
to work for their map, forcing them to make a stronger mental image of the world in their head. Christopher Larkin's score and Ari Gibson's artwork lend to this as well. creating an atmosphere that the player won't want to leave. But there's one aspect of Hollow Knight that keeps people like me coming back: the world building.
Yeah, the world
When
is
Super Metroid launched in
curious.
1994, it stood out for its amazing sense of immersion. Now in 1994, I was busy not being alive, but I've watched enough YouTube video essays to know that this game was a big deal. In case you didn't know, Super Metroid is basically the granddaddy of all Metroidvanias. That's why they're called Metroidvanias. Now in Super Metroid, there are moments that give the player a sense of depth. Basically the feeling that this world exists outside of Samus's interactions with it. In the room right before that diabetic crocodile thing, Samus can find the corpse of a random soldier. His inclusion here doesn't change
Name's
the gameplay
Craig.
at all, but instead gives the player a sense of wonder about the world they are
Craig, something
exploring.
like that, right?
Who was this guy? Why was he here in the first place? Did he like jazz? Now, finding dead
Like
bodies and other
jazz?
random garbage is pretty cool, right? Well, Hollow Knight basically does the same thing, about a dozen times. Through its world building, Hollow Knight turns Hallownest into a living kingdom. You can sense the ancient history of the land when you look at dilapidated structures or giant barred doors. Nothing feels like it was put into the game randomly. There's a reason for it all.
That is
Except
true.
those reasons aren't the easiest to uncover. Hollow Knight's narrative is buried under
Hey,
layers of
I never
NPC
got the
dialogue,
grub
item
room.
descriptions, lore tablets, and even additional content like the Quarrel comic and Fangamer's Wanderer's Journal. These past 3 years have seen an insane amount of research by the Hollow Knight community to make sense of Team
Holy
Cherry's
shit.
sprawling world.
Why did it say how to
We've
eat
even made
ass?
it to
I'm
the point
sorry,
where people
what?
are looking at the in-game signs to try and decipher Hallownest's logographic language. In this video, I hope to give you
Holy
a long and detailed
shit.
look into the world of Hollow Knight, exploring Hallownest's history and uncertain future. When I'm not busy making surprisingly accurate Super Smash Bros. Roster speculation videos, or insightful podcasts about beloved subjects like the Donkey Kong Country television series, or whatever this was supposed to be, I'm usually making videos about Hollow Knight.
So
And while I
many
am a
Hollow Knight
seasoned
videos.
Hollow Knight lore expert, I cannot confirm that every musing or theory presented in this video is completely correct. I highly recommend
Okay.
checking out the lore section of the Hollow Knight wiki if you want a more neutral explanation
Okay,
of
so
Hollow
there's a
Knight's
Hollow
lore.
Knight wiki. I
But
might
if you're
look
too
into
lazy
that
to
on my free
read,
time.
then I suggest you sit back, order some Domino's pizza, or just grab a block of cheese from the fridge
I can eat my
and enjoy
fries
the
now.
mostly complete lore of Hollow Knight.
I have French fries. Oh, they're cold.
It's a simple fact of life that every human worships a god, be that technology, ideologies, or in rare cases, God. As it turns out, the bugs in Hallownest pretty much operate in the same way. From the Mosskin born from the dream of a giant slug, to the emo kids of the ancient civilization who literally worship the darkness, there is no shortage of things to worship in the world of Hollow Knight. Our story begins with a creature very much
I do
worthy
like
of worship.
the blue
A creature
bugs.
born from the carcass of a worm. The carcass can still be found in the Kingdom's Edge, and
Oh,
it's
yeah,
our only
that.
good look at what worms actually looked like. At the time Hollow Knight occurs, it is suggested there are no worms left in the world. They were incredibly long creatures that featured little to no limbs. Another more mysterious property of worms was that they had some kind of prescience, or foresight. Basically, they could see the future to
Okay.
some capacity. It isn't clear how effective this ability was. Considering how the entire race went extinct, this foresight ability must have been pretty shit. Getting back to this particular
But how are they extinct? There are worms. Like, yes, this one's big, but we literally see worms in several places in the game. This is just a really big one that's died, right? Anyway.
worm carcass, it is explained that this worm traveled across the distant mountains and wastelands beyond Hallownest. Once it arrived in Hallownest, the worm died. Except not really. Inside the maw of the carcass sits a pale broken egg, out of which hatched a new form of worm, a being of meager shell. This form of the worm is usually referred to as the Pale King, and he's the character basically responsible for everything that
So are we a worm? Or are we a worm? I did not get that connection.
happens in Hollow Knight.
Huh.
The Pale King is a higher being, a type of creature that exists above all others. His body was said to shine with a radiant visage that harmed those who looked upon him. The ultimate goal of the Pale King seemed to be in line with that of other worms. A line from the cryptic Mr. Mushroom reads, "Worms pull bugs into their thrall, till ages pass and kingdoms fall." In other words, it's just in their nature. Dogs wag their tails, cats bury their shit, and worms bring massive amounts of bugs into their service in order to form long-standing kingdoms and civilizations. And here in a
Okay.
far corner of the world, the Pale King emerged from the corpse of his former self and began to build his eternal kingdom, Hallownest. There's this one slight problem. There's
Hola,
like
soy
people-
Lunas de Argentina. But if you don't understand Spanish, I'll say hello. I'm Lunas from Argentina. Melis to 5 dance.
Hi, Looney. We beat Hollow Knight, and so now we're watching a video about the lore because I did not understand it.
already living there.
Welcome on
The
in.
area
It's
that would
lovely
eventually
to
become
see
Hallownest
you.
was already filled with mantises, bees, moths,
That map
spiders,
is beautiful.
mushrooms,
This
and
version of
bush
the map is
cosplayers.
absolutely beautiful.
Each
I
of
need
these
that.
groups were already operating with their own cultures and societies, and each group had a different interaction with the Pale King.
Also, I'm eating French fries.
One of the more receptive groups to the arrival of the Pale King were the mushrooms of the fungal wastes. These creatures were able to communicate with one another through one shared mind. The mushrooms viewed this shared mind as a strength, and they were kind of smug dickheads about it. Ultimately,
Okay.
the mushrooms wearily accepted the Pale King's rule, viewing his foresight as a shield to the dangers of the future. Another group living in the fungal wastes is the Mantis tribe. The Mantises have a rich cultural history reaching back to long before the birth
Okay.
of Halonest. The
Pass,
Mantises are
Melissa.
a proud tribe,
Hated the
believing in the
Mantis.
importance of proving one's physical strength.
But
The
I
Mantises
like
are
the I like
fiercely
the
territorial,
Mantises
but will
now.
show respect to those who display great power. These Fight Club enthusiasts were led by
I
four
understand
powerful
why
Mantis
you all
lords,
liked them the
who I guess
most.
just kind of sat around waiting for
They were
outsiders
pretty
to challenge
solid.
them. The Mantis tribe had no interest in the Pale King's kingdom, but the two communities did come to a truce. In exchange for their independence from Halonest, the Mantis tribe kept the beasts of Deep Nest from invading Halonest. Not sure why they didn't just go out the other exits from Deep Nest, but whatever. I'm not an expert on Border Patrol. I don't work at ICE anymore. Let's move on to Deep Nest.
Anymore.
Now, many of the different tribes of Halonest were kind enough to leave lore tablets behind, detailing pretty much everything we need to know about them. Unfortunately, the bugs of Deep Nest didn't do that. We know that the spiders of Deep Nest had a monarchy because why not? Those are always good, right? Also, within Deep Nest are a separate group of spiders that immigrated to Deep Nest at some point in the past. This group was known as the Weavers, and they established their own culture and history within Deep Nest. They used looms of silk to weave stories, spells, and shields. One thing we know for sure about Deep Nest is that they really didn't want anything to do with Halonest. The struggles of Deep Nest-Halonest relations would become painfully clear as time goes on, but for right now, it seems like the two remain fairly isolated from one another.
Okay.
Another section of pre-Halonest includes Green Path. Now, as far as we can tell, the mushrooms, mantises, and spiders of Deep Nest didn't worship any higher beings. There is this giant mushroom corpse in the fungal core, but I don't think this is a higher being. I mean, who the hell would want to worship a fat-ass mushroom? Fat-ass slugs? Now that's dope. The land we know as Green
Yeah.
Path was created by the higher
I
being
did
known
like the
as
slug.
Un used her great mind to dream the vegetation of Green Path into the once barren caverns. Un's followers, the Mosskin, were also born out of Un's dream, making her their creator. Green Path at its height was actually much larger than we see in-game. At one point, Green Path stretched into both modern-day Queen's Garden and possibly Fog Canyon. Green Path's
dang.
citizens showed themselves to be a fairly developed society. They built a temple at the Lake of Un in order to worship her, and they even had their own line of defense, with Moss Knights showing proficiency in combat, using nails and shells as weapons. The Law of Un continued to remain in effect even after the Pale King arrived, but it seems like they allowed the king to establish a road through their lands, leading travelers to the heart of Halonest. Hence the name Green Path. Yeah, Team Cherry really racked their brains when naming this area, didn't they? Next, we have the bees. And while there is no lore on how these bees can turn into fucking drills, or how they can ignore all known laws of aviation,
Yeah,
we
no,
do know
fuck
how they
those
reacted
bees.
to the Pale King. These bugs decided to seal their hive off from the rest of the world, with only patrol bees being able to enter and exit the hive. So yeah, the bees are pretty much pointless in this story.
Yeah.
And finally, we have the Moth tribe. In-game, the only moth
The bees
settlement
are
is in the
pointless,
resting
but they're
grounds.
cute.
But the tribe might have also
little
inhabited the
ones are
Crystal
cute.
Peak at one point. Now, as we all know, moths in real life are just complete assholes.
No,
As for
they're
the moths in
not.
Hollow Knight, well,
I
it's a
like
bit
moths.
complicated. The moth race is described as being a rather pacifist group, with few ever choosing to take up a weapon. During the Pale King's reign, the moth race delved amongst dreams and the dead, displaying the importance of remembering those who have passed, as well as learning how to shape dreams themselves. Similar to the Mothkin, the Moth tribe was born from a higher being, known as the Radiance. The Radiance is described as being a light in which the Moth tribe basked, so she was basically a giant lamp to them. Another important aspect about the Radiance is her ties to dreams and a substance known as Essence. Essence are the remains of wishes and dreams, and are represented in-game by these Dreamcatcher particle effects. Essence can take the form of whispering roots, as well as dream ghosts, both of which are memories taking root in the world. The Radiance appears to be a creature made of essence, but she isn't the only higher being to give off essence. Un has green particles, the Pale King has gray particles, and this sexy character named Grim gives off fiery red particles.
I didn't see any of this shit. What? Who the fuck is Grim? Why do they look like Bendy from Bendy and the Ink Machine? What? I didn't see any of this shit. What the fuck?
However, the Radiance appears to be the main god when it comes to dreams, even if other gods also dabble in the dream realm. Getting back to the Moth tribe, it is their interaction with the Pale King that we need to discuss. Basically, the Moths turned their backs on the Radiance completely, in order to worship the new light that had appeared, the Pale King's light. So yeah, Moths are assholes in this game too. With her tribe forsaking her, the Radiance became a forgotten memory, a remnant of the past, and a thing that's definitely not going to come up again later in this video. And so the Pale King's new kingdom was established, Hallownest. But there is one aspect of Hallownest that we need to discuss. Unfortunately, to better understand this, we're going to have to read some poetry. In Wilds Beyond,
Yay,
they speak your
poetry!
name with reverence and regret. For none could tame our savage souls, yet you the challenge met. Under palest watch, you taught, we changed. Base instincts were redeemed. A world you gave to bug and beast as they had never dreamed.
Okay, so this is obviously what the game starts with, right? Okay, I'm gonna do a little poetry analysis before we let him do his analysis, okay? Right? Let's put on, they speak your name with reverence and regret. Not contain my savage souls, yet you the challenge man. Under palest watch you taught, we changed. The base instincts were redeemed. A world you gave to bug and beasts as they had never dreamed. So, out of context. Right. Slightly out of context, slightly in context, right? So, essentially, the Pale King was revered and feared. He tried to basically tame the untamable. Under palest watch you taught, we changed. Base instincts were redeemed. So, everybody kind of became more in tune with their natural selves under the Pale King, which does not sound like necessarily a good thing. It sounds like civilization was deteriorating in some ways. A world you gave to bug and beast as they had never dreamed. Yeah, so essentially allowing certain groups to run wild is the way I'm getting from this.
This is from a poem titled Elegy for Hallownest, written by Modamon the Teacher. The poem appears at the beginning of every playthrough, and hints at what the Pale King and his kingdom offered. Much of the land outside of Hallownest appears to be a wasteland, where bugs survive off of instinct, without the burden of mind. Hallownest somehow taught these bugs and tamed their savagery. Basically, the Pale King changed the instincts of his subjects, and granted them higher thought. To get a better picture of this, let's look at two different characters,
Okay.
Boone and Tuck. These adorable panda bug things.
Where were these guys? Where the fuck were these guys? I didn't meet these guys.
Give us a clear display of Hallownest's effect. While both appear to be the same species of bug, Boone is dumb as a sack of rocks, struggling to string together words, while Tuck speaks fairly clearly. The main difference between these two characters is that while Boone lives outside of Hallownest, Tuck lives beneath the city's capital.
They're so cute.
Basically, it appears as though Hallownest is a literal holy ground that raises the intelligence of those who dwell within. The Pale King established a path, starting from the kingdom's entrance in King's Pass, winding through Greenpath and the fungal wastes, and finally ending at the massive capital at Hallownest's heart. We now know the capital city as the City of Tears, but that was likely not its original name. The rain that falls down onto the city from the blue lake above didn't begin until after the kingdom collapsed. So unless the capital was originally named by some edgy literature student, the name City of Tears wouldn't have made much sense. The king's motivation for all this appears to have been his desire to be worshipped. The citizens of Hallownest believe that the Pale King created the world, and everything in it. Shrines to the king can be found scattered throughout the kingdom, and king's idols were created and distributed to followers of the king. Despite the worship, the Pale King often kept himself hidden
That's
from
what
his
those
subjects, possibly to hide his blemishes. I mean, if you look at the size of the real Pale King to his statue in the ancient basin, the man is clearly overcompensating. The
Was
Pale
that,
King's
like,
White
where do
Palace
we
was
see the
also
real
built
Pale
underneath
King?
the city,
We never
separating
saw
him
him.
from his subjects even more so. At the same time, certain powers became shunned in Hallownest, though we don't know for sure if the Pale King had anything to do with this. Lifeblood is a blue liquidy substance that leaves those who drink it feeling refreshed.
I love
However,
lifeblood.
the use of lifeblood was seen as a taboo, and those who used it were demonized as heretics. The use of soul for combat was also shunned. Soul is a sort of life force in Hollow Knight that animates the bodies of living creatures. But some characters are able to control the soul of others to conjure powerful spirits. But aside from a few exceptions, no citizens of Hallownest ever use this power. However, the Pale King didn't rule alone. There was another higher being in the mix, a being known as the White Lady. The White Lady is a weird
Who the
boot-like
fuck
being
is
that can be
this?
found in the modern-day Queen's Gardens. She is encased in a strange cocoon, and we know very little about her. With as much exposition we get for the Pale King, there is next to nothing on the White Lady. But one thing we do know is that she likes to breed. Like, a lot. The White Lady would often retreat to the Queen's Gardens, an area of land once controlled by the Mosskin.
I'm uncomfortable. White Lady's a major large opulence. I did try to do the little metal flower quest on my own, but that shit's hard.
How exactly she walked around and actually went places is a lore question too deep for even my expertise. The White Lady is also known as a pale being, along with the Pale King. What exactly are pale beings? Well, we don't know for sure, but they seem to stand out even amongst higher beings as being even more powerful. I know that's a little confusing, so let's try using an example. I'd say that regular higher beings are like a TP-Link Archer C7 AC1750 wireless dual-band gigabit router,
So this is going
while
over
pale
my
beings
head.
are like the Asus RT-AX88U AX6000 dual-band 8X gigabit Wi-Fi router. Under the Pale King,
is
Halnest
all
underwent a
going
bit of
over
an
my head.
industrial revolution. He ordered the construction of the Stagways, which were used to transport passengers and goods. The Forgotten Crossroads and the storerooms above the City of Tears were used to store goods that traveled along these Stagways. The king also ordered the construction of the tramways, because literally no one is safe from the threat of automation.
Okay.
A tram was built between the Forgotten Crossroads and the Resting Grounds. A second tram was built from the Kingdom's Edge across the ancient basin over to Deep Nest. And then a third tram was started in Deep Nest and attempted to go further into Deep Nest. Not sure how useful that would have been to the bugs of Hallownest, but whatever. The Pale King's a smart guy, I'm not gonna question him.
Show
But
your
anyway, the Pale
intent.
King's super smart plan to build a tram in Deep Nest ended up getting a few of his tram workers killed. The bugs of Deep Nest rejected the Pale King's attempt to build a tram in their territory, further cementing the poor relations shared between the two groups.
Okay.
Aside from convenient fast travel, regular pathways were also used to cart goods around the kingdom. From this was born probably one of the most important groups in Hallownest, and perhaps even all of fiction. An elusive guild of bugs, simply known as the Menderbugs, took to maintaining the various signs scattered throughout Hallownest. From the journal entry of one Menderbug, we can catch a glimpse into their ancient and unknowable minds.
That's so
Dear,
cute.
dear diary. Isn't life just the most beautiful thing? Fixing signs, mending posts, let them break, I say. I'm a better mender for all that repairing. I sometimes doubt there's a single bug in all of Hallownest happier than me.
Another example of the Pale King's
They're
expanding
so
infrastructure
precious!
is the Crystal Peak. This area is filled with crystals that grow rapidly along walls, ceilings, and even the shells of certain bugs. These crystals were considered valuable to the bugs of Hallownest, resulting in large-scale mining efforts. We don't actually see the crystals used anywhere else in Hallownest, but they are said to contain a sort of energy. The crystals are also said to sing, if you listen very carefully.
I really got rickrolled.
In terms
I
of
really got
military,
fucking rickrolled
Hallownest's
in a
first
Hollow
line of
Knight
defense
video.
appeared to be a group simply known as the Five Great Knights. The members of this esteemed coalition were Ogrim, Hagamol, Zamir, Drya, and Isma. For being so important, most of the information about these knights has been lost to time. Ogrim is the knight we know the most about, since he is one of the few knights still alive during the events of the game.
Done.
Ogrim expressed a great amount of loyalty towards the king, and he maybe had something going on with Isma, but we really don't know.
Oh.
Hagamol was known for his sense of humor and his soft-spoken voice,
Scandalous.
but at the same time, he was also dummy thick. Mysterious Amir arrived in Hallownest from a serene land,
Dummy.
bringing with her a collection of delicate flowers. At some point, she also got into a relationship with a mantis, but not just any mantis, a daughter of one of the mantis lords. So yeah, it seems like these great knights were slaying in more ways than one. All we really know about Drya is that she was fierce, caring, and wise. As for Isma, she was described as being kind. She also appears to be some sort of weird plant life form, but there's no information on where she's from or what her powers were. The Five Great Knights played an
I
important
missed
role in
that
the
too.
Champion's
I have
Call,
no idea.
the Knotted Grove, and the Battle of the Blackworm. We have no idea what these events were or how they affected Hallownest, but they sound cool nonetheless. During Hallownest's
Battle
reign,
of the
there was another
Blackworm
strange
sounds
area that
cool.
seemed to exist separate from the Pale King's rule. Carved out of the corpse of an ancient bug, an area called the Colosseum of Fools was constructed, and it was a
like
destination for
Colosseum.
warriors from outside Hallownest. The sole purpose for fighting in the Colosseum appeared to be simply for glory, with a mysterious
Yeah.
figure known as the Lord Fool overseeing the combat. We
For
don't know when the Colosseum was
glory!
constructed or if the Pale King was involved, but one of his servants, the Pale Lurker, became a champion in the Colosseum, perhaps indicating the Pale King's approval. And finally, there was the Royal Waterways, where the fecal excrement of the kingdom was washed out into the fungal wastes. This area saw the
Yeah.
rise of a species of parasite-like creatures called the Flukes. The Flukes spawned from
Hate
the
those
Fluke Marm,
things.
a giant monster with
I hate
cavities
those
in
things
which
so
tinier
much.
flukes live. There really isn't too much lore involved with the Flukes, but I do need to point out that the Fluke Marm is canonically a MILF. Like, that's not even debatable.
God
The
damn.
sky is blue, 2 + 2 = 4, and we all want to fuck this thing.
Ew.
And so this was the kingdom of Hallownest at its height.
Just
Hallownest was a
ew.
vast kingdom connected by a network of stagways and tram stations. The bugs of Hallownest mourned their dead in the resting grounds, engaged in commerce using Geo, the de facto currency of the region, and a thriving capital located in the middle of the kingdom. The Pale King had succeeded in crafting a full-blown society, but we all know there are pitfalls to living in a society.
Not the
As the
fucking
suspiciously
Joker.
knowledgeable hunter points out in his journal, the Pale King had created a population of weak and pathetic creatures. The bugs of Hallownest did not hunt for their own food, and had become complacent with their comfort. This is even more obvious with the east wing of the capital. These greedy members of Hallownest's high society became complete cowards, obsessed with riches and plum from excess wealth. The bugs living in Hallownest
That makes
Prime
sense.
looked quite different than the instinctive simpletons they once were. Their savagery had been replaced with intelligence, and through that intellect,
I wanna
they gave
meet
the
that
Pale King the devotion
bug!
and service he
They're
desired.
so cute.
And while there were a few snags along the way, they were shining times for the king and his subjects. Resting at the threshold of Hallownest is a strange lore tablet, proclaiming Hallownest to be the last and only civilization. It calls Hallownest an eternal kingdom. This appears to have been the Pale King's goal, for Hallownest to stand against a wasted world as a final beacon for civilization. And that was the Pale King's ultimate folly, to think that he could succeed where so many others had failed before. Long before the Pale
Okay.
Kings or the Barry Bensons of the world, the land of Hallownest was controlled by an ancient caste. Hints of Hallownest history are littered throughout the land, with the most notable examples being the soul totems and arcane eggs.
Okay.
One sect of these ancient bugs didn't worship a god like the Pale King or any lord, but instead a dark and mysterious substance known as the Void. This ancient caste once also tried to lay claim to the entire
We're
land of
also made
Hallownest,
of void,
but they too
right?
failed. In his quest to conquer all of Hallownest, the Pale King had made an enemy long forgotten, an enemy that was about to be remembered.
Is this the Radiance?
I mentioned earlier
is
that the
what she
Moth
was
tribe
called?
entirely forgot about the Radiance in order to worship the Pale King, but that isn't quite true. Memories of her still lingered, and hushed whispers of faith kept the Radiance alive. At the summit of the Crystal Peak, a location known as Hallownest Crown, a strange collection of glyphs can be found. Joining these glyphs is a statue of the Radiance, presiding over the kingdom below.
I didn't even
This old summit is the sole
realize that.
standing shrine left to the Radiance. This was built in order to keep the memory of the Radiance alive. The Radiance's light began to appear in the dreams of Hallownest citizens. This light manifested itself in an infection that ravaged through the kingdom's tunnels. Those infected would fall into a deep sleep and awaken with broken minds. Some of the lesser bugs tried to resist the Radiance's light, which only resulted in them being consumed by it even more so. Many infected bugs lost their wills and began attacking bugs that weren't infected. The infection also twisted the bodies of its hosts, causing them to bloat and occasionally develop orange cysts on their bodies.
Yeah.
For many victims, they were
Uncommon.
reverted back to their basic instincts, carrying out the duties they once fulfilled in life, but now as mindless slaves. Those caught up in the infection were linked into the Radiance's hive mind, allowing her to control their bodies if needed. As the infection spread across Hallownest, many groups looked to solutions to fight off the Radiance's light. The gates of the City of Tears were closed in an attempt to keep the infection from reaching the city. The stagways were also shut down at some point, and many of the stags eventually died out, but some took more proactive efforts against the infection. The scholars of the Soul Sanctum decided to harness the power of Soul in an attempt to fight the infection.
I remember this.
This resulted in the deaths of hundreds of bugs, whose souls were sucked out and injected into the bodies of the scholars. Their goal was to achieve some kind of pure focus, which would somehow protect them from plagues of the mind. The scholars' leader, the Soul Master, was driven mad by the sheer power of Soul, and his entire sect failed to avoid infection. But hey, at least they took as many innocent people down with them as they could. The Mantis tribe, showing a stronger will than the common bug, were able to stave off the infection. However, one of the 4 Mantis Lords turned against his sisters. He and his followers took in the
Whoa!
infection willingly, as it gave them more strength and courage. At some
didn't
point
know
during
that
all
was a
this, the
thing.
Traitor Lord and his followers were exiled from the Mantis village, eventually taking up residence in the Queen's Gardens. The Traitor Lord's daughter ended up dying at some point. This is the same Mantis that was in a relationship with Zamir, one of the 5 Great Knights, but the Mantises rejected their union because of Zamir's outsideness. As a gamer, this type of prejudice is all too familiar,
I
and
don't
honestly,
know.
it makes me sick.
Not the alert being over my fucking face. Hi, Shadow. Welcome on in. We beat Hollow Knight, but I don't know the story. So we're watching this video called The Mostly Complete Lore of Hollow Knight. Wait, you did it? Congrats, bestie. I can't wait to watch the VOD. Yeah, no, it was the run I was struggling the most on. But you would have been so proud because my first run, I went in and I was like, oh, this is the farthest I've gone. Oh, I'm still going. Like, I actually got really far on that first run. And I joked about doing it first try. I think I only died 2 or 3 times, right? Right, chat? I only died like 2 or 3 times. We ended with 150 deaths. I'm very proud. I'm much proud. But now we're reacting. I'm a little React Andy tonight.
With the 5 Great Knights completely useless to fight
Yeah,
against
I
the
did it.
infection,
I did
the Pale
it.
King devised his own scheme. A scheme involving a strange substance known as Void. As I mentioned earlier,
Okay, yeah,
the
so-
Pale King's White Palace was built in an area called
And
the
this-
Ancient Basin.
We didn't see
But
this.
his castle wasn't the only noteworthy thing down there. At the bottom of the ancient basin was the entrance to a pit, known as the Abyss.
Yeah, we went
Within
down
the
there.
Abyss was a lake composed of void.
Yeah, we
The Pale
spammed
King
it.
realized that this void could be given form, as evidenced by an imprint of such, deep within the Abyss,
We
possibly
are
left there by
delayed.
the ancient civilization that predated Hallownest. The Pale King devised a workshop in his palace, where he placed void in armor shells imbued with soul.
Yeah, that's who we're watching. We're watching Moss Pack. Oh my gosh, Ray, your recommendation has been seconded. Good call. Good call.
Creating servants known as King's Molds and Wing Molds. These void creatures were somehow imprinted with the desire of the Pale King, so that they would serve him. It isn't clear when the Pale King started making these creatures.
Like when did this
There is
happen?
evidence to imply that even common
Where's
about
this
were
in the
aware of
game?
King's Molds. But the point is, the Pale King turned to the void in order to create another creature, one that he believed could contain the Radiance and her infection.
A Hollow
He
Knight.
tried to create a pure vessel.
A Hollow
The
Knight.
Radiance's infection needs its host to have a will and a mind in order to enslave it. A pure vessel would be a creature made of void designed to lack those features. The Pale King believed that by harnessing the void inside a pure vessel, he would be able to stop the infection and keep Hallownest lasting eternal. But his method for creating this so-called pure vessel was incredibly cruel. This is where the White Lady and her King Kong-sized libido come into play. These two higher beings engaged in a union of some kind, resulting in the creation of several eggs that were dropped down into the abyss. There, the void seeped into these eggs, corrupting the offspring of the Pale King and the White Lady. This act resulted in the creation of the vessels. The vessels are not technically considered to be alive. They are shells created from the Pale King and White Lady that have
So
been
I'm
filled
not
with the
alive.
void. Within each vessel is a shade, a completely void being hidden behind the face of the vessel. Vessels are also non-gendered, I guess because they're dead or something? I'm not sure if that's how that
Woo!
works, but whatever. I'm not
Non-gender
an expert on
conforming,
these
let's
kinds of things.
go.
I don't work at ICE anymore. Thousands of vessels were created during this process, but only one was chosen as the pure vessel. This particular vessel, chosen by the Pale King, was deemed the Hollow Knight, and was taken away to the White Palace. But I want to take a bit of a closer look at this part of the story. There are a number of questions and theories surrounding this moment that I really want to dig into. The big question surrounding this moment is, why was the Hollow Knight chosen over any other vessel? One common theory is that the Pale King took these vessels back to the White Palace and evaluated them using his giant collection of buzzsaws. This theory is probably the least likely explanation. It kinda exists just to explain the buzzsaws,
This
which is
whole
quite the
area
mystery, I'll
looks
admit, but doesn't really mess
terrible.
with the vessels very well. How does being good at Super Meat Boy prove that you are a worthy vessel? And while thinking
Oh
about
my
logistics in a game
God.
about magic bugs is never a good idea, how exactly did the Pale King transfer these thousands of vessels to his palace without characters like the Dung Defender finding out?
So there were others.
So this means that the Pale King probably made his decision without taking any of the
Yeah, I
vessels
remember
out
that.
of the Abyss. So how did the Pale King make his evaluation? I think the best explanation comes from a theory I originally heard from a user named Golden Flower Fan. Basically, the vessels were hatched down at the bottom of the Abyss, and the first one to make it to the top was chosen by the Pale King. In a memory of this event, we see
Oh.
vessels falling from above back down into the pit of the Abyss. Perhaps these vessels weren't being cast down into the Abyss, but fell while trying to escape out of it. The lore tablet outside the Abyss appears to support this theory. It reads, "Our pure vessel has ascended. Beyond lies only the refuse and regret of its creation. We shall enter that place no longer."
Oh.
This tablet was likely written right after the Hollow Knight was chosen. Considering
Okay. So the Abyss was basically a hatching ground for all of the vessels, because that's where like the void came from too, with like the egg stuff that he was just talking about. So like, because when we read that, I thought it was about us. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was about us. But I just have so many questions in about like our existence. We shouldn't exist technically, right? Or how many others like us were there? Because we know, while we know Hornet is our sibling, Hornet is not like us. So I don't think Hornet came from down here. Hornet had to come from somewhere else. At least two. Yeah. No. Hey? Yeah. Yeah, Hornet came from somewhere. Okay.
that is when the entrance to the Abyss was sealed off. The tablet proclaims that the pure vessel has ascended, or in other words, climbed out of the Abyss.
Oh!
And while cut content should never
right. I
be considered
completely
canon,
forgot about that,
I
Shadow.
would just like to point out that an earlier version of this tablet,
Yeah, I know.
found
I
in the
wanted to
game's
have
code,
something. Yeah.
was even more explicit about this.
Thank you.
It read,
I couldn't
"From
remember.
below, our pure vessel has ascended." But how does making it to the top of the Abyss first prove that the Hollow Knight is somehow a perfectly hollow vessel? Well, I think this whole concept might just be a misconception. What if the Hollow Knight wasn't any different from the other vessels? All the vessels were made in the exact same way after all.
Yeah.
The idea that the Hollow Knight was somehow more hollow than the other vessels comes from the fact that there were so many vessels created in the first place. If they only needed one, then why create so goddamn many? I mean, this is like Aquamom
so
on
many.
steroids. Well, these are bugs we're talking about, so it would make sense that multiple offspring would come from one egg. And it might have
Swiggity swam. Oh shit, the end of the game! I know! Yeah, we beat the Hollow Knight. We beat the Hollow Knight. But I feel like there's a lot of story that was missing, and so Ray and Shadow have both said, watch this video from Mossbag. We're about halfway through it, so I'm doing a little reaction bit. But I thought I was gonna be here for like 3 hours tonight fighting the boss, and I beat it in less than an hour. It only took me like 3 or 4 tries. Oh my gosh, you guys, I've seen Nat's new model. Oh, you realize you do realize you beat the easiest ending, right? No. I don't realize. You didn't even unlock the true ending. I know I didn't unlock the true ending. I've spent 57 hours on this game. Okay. That is longer than Danganronpa 3. We've spent longer on this game than Danganronpa 3. Sorry. V3. Okay. All right, everyone buckle up. Time for a 15-hour stream. Nope. You will get heavily spoiled by this. It's a little... That's fine. That is totally fine. Because I will only absorb about 15% of this. And that is okay. Ugh. Just for reference, and this is... this is an example of how my brain works. Vox Machina. I can't tell you shit, and I've seen at least 67 videos. Anyway, skill issue. I speedran the game in an hour. Well, some of us are good at games, and some of us are not. And I am followed in the not category.
It had been a precaution to produce multiple vessels, in hopes that at least one would be able to successfully escape the abyss. Now another explanation could be that the Pale King just yeeted other vessels that made it to the top first, after determining that they weren't hollow, which would better explain why so many were created. Ultimately, the exact details aren't super important, but I do find it interesting how many different interpretations can be pulled from this part of the lore. After the Hollow Knight was chosen, the Pale King sealed the doorway to the abyss, leaving the discarded vessels to rot away.
Yes, please do. I understand that. I totally understand. I appreciate the alert. Go finish your model. Go finish your model. Hee hee. Actually, did you finish it? Did you finish? You finished it! Ah! Good job! I'm so excited. Do we know when do we know Okay, I was doing it as a bit and then I fucked up halfway through and I could not actually say words. I baffle myself with my stupidity. Oh god, okay. Do we know when debut is? Debut is? What? 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 I'm like, you're not fucking live, you asshole! You really, I literally was like, what? We're raiding now? What the fuck? You asshole. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh wait, Shadow, do you really want me to go finish the game? Yeah, I know, that's fair, Nat. That's fair. Okay, we're halfway through this video. Okay, do we finish the video? Or do I go back to my save file and you guys tell me places to go? Oh, Natalie needs to finish. Okay, Natalie, you go finish the game. You go finish the game. You finish the model. It's usable. You squashed the bug. You literally squashed the bug. You literally squashed the bug. Okay. Yes, Natalie, you go play Hollow Knight. Okay, I am gonna press play in like 5 seconds. So anybody who does not want spoilers, we are just going to finish the rest of this video. And then yeah, that'll be our night. Because thanks, hi Natalie, and goodbye Natalie. Okay, I'm gonna count down from 5. This is your warning for spoilers. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold on, I got a text. Why did I get a text? Okay, we're good. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Away in darkness. These actions were not taken lightly by the Pale King or the White Lady. Both participants expressed shame in what they did, but saw no other option to save the kingdom. But the vessels weren't the only poor saps sealed away in the abyss. There's also a lighthouse that was built on top of a naturally formed spire, its light shining down on an ocean of abyss below. Inside was one of the Pale King's royal retainers, who was left in charge of keeping the lighthouse turned on. So this brave soul was willingly sealed in a dark and dangerous tomb for the rest of his life, just so he could not pull a lever. Well, at least he was living with purpose. With the abyss sealed and the Hollow Knight chosen, the Pale King's plan was beginning to come together. The Hollow Knight was raised and trained to prime form, causing it to grow several times its original size. We don't know exactly why this happened, but I guess the Hollow Knight is just a grower and not a shower. We know that the Hollow Knight was trained to use a nail,
Not the grower.
but why was this even necessary? One possible explanation is that the Hollow Knight needed to protect itself in case an intruder tried to kill it. You know, like the player. Or perhaps this was important in the process of containing the Radiance. Unfortunately, the details of that are never fully explained. The Hollow Knight might have somehow focused the Radiance inside itself, but Team Cherry gives us no explanation of how that might have worked. But that still wasn't enough for the Pale King. Additional seals were needed in order to protect the Hollow Knight's physical body while the Radiance was trapped inside of it.
Okay.
To achieve this, the Pale King sought the help of 3 particular bugs, who would later be known as the Dreamers: Lurien the Watcher, Motomon the Teacher, and Hera the Beast.
Yes, you may, Shadow.
Lurien is definitely the most mysterious of the 3 Dreamers. He lived in the Watcher Spire in the City of Tears. From there, Lurien watched over the city with his telescope. Lurien was a pretty big fan of the king, so it probably took little convincing for him to lie down for him. Lurien might also be tied to another strange incident that occurred in the City of Tears. Hidden on some of Lurien's lore tablets are images of jars, the same jars that can be found stockpiled in the Tower of Love. This building sits on the outskirts of the city, and is the setting of one of the most bizarre bosses in the game, the Collector. The Collector is a void construct that appears to have been made from the same mold used to create the King's molds. But the Collector is unique because, well,
Oh my god.
the Collector stayed in the Tower of Love with a noble bug who likely owned the establishment. In the tower, a number of bugs can be found captured in jars, implying that these two were tasked with collecting these creatures. However, the Collector somehow became obsessed with grubs, creating a map to keep track of grubs it captured in jars, as well as keeping a strange shrine displaying a grub in the
I have
style
the
of the
link, by the way,
Vitruvian
so
Man.
I'll look at it in a second.
Eventually, the bug staying with the Collector decided to lock it inside the Tower of Love, and fled to the Queen's Gardens, where it died, likely due to overexposure to the void. Despite being locked up in the tower, the Collector is
I
still
never thought
spotted
of
by the
void
Hunter
being
at
like
some
a
point,
deadly thing.
which either means this only happened recently, or the Hunter has been farting around in Hallownest for a long-ass time. We have no idea what these creatures were trying to do. It's implied that the Collector was trying to preserve the creatures of Hallownest, perhaps trying to protect them from the spread of the infection, but we don't know where the Collector's obsession with grubs originated. And while Lurien does seem connected to all of this, we don't know how involved he was
So
with
the
this operation,
Collector's to
or what its
blame
end goal
for
exactly
stealing
was.
all my little wormy
Motomon the Teacher lived in the
friends?
Teacher's Archives, a library built atop a lake of acid in the Fog Canyon. The lower half of
my
her body
little
consists of
guys.
tentacles, making her a popular subject for the thriving Hollow Knight R34 community. The archives and the Fog Canyon as a whole are also filled with these strange
Okay, sorry. I can slide past some of the other sexual jokes, but that one was a lot. That was a lot. I could have done without the censored scroll, I think.
Metroid knockoffs. These creatures are likely related to Monomon in some way. They could be her live offspring, her test tube babies, or possibly even her shit. Moldamon uses futuristic cathode ray tube things to store information about Hallownest. Several terminals in the teacher's archive
Oh,
go
he
into
did?
detail
Okay.
about the Pale King's plan to defeat the Radiants, indicating that Moldamon had intimate knowledge of what she was taking part in.
Yeah, Monomon
Finally,
did
the Pale
seem
King
very
sought the help of
intelligent.
Hera the Beast, the Queen of Deepnest. Now, as I mentioned earlier, relations between Hallownest and Deepnest were kinda not great.
Yeah.
Unlike the other two dreamers, Hera needed to be convinced in order to help the Pale King. Hera would eventually agree to become a dreamer, in exchange for a child. The Pale King agreed, and the two engaged in a dalliance, which is a fancy way of saying they totally boned.
Ah,
The White
don't
Lady
show
was
me
okay with this
footage.
arrangement. In fact, she might have been watching from the closet.
Oh god.
The motive behind Hera's request is never elaborated on, but it appears as though the King of Deepnest was dead at this point. Hera was a common bug, so perhaps she desired the Pale King's pale seed so that her child could be of high birth. The bargain between Hera and the Pale King resulted in the birth of Hornet.
Yeah,
She
okay.
became known as the gendered child, because unlike the Pale King's other children, Hornet was not hollowed out by the Abyss. Hera and Hornet spent little time together, as Hera had to make good on her end of the bargain. And so the three dreamers were put to rest. Through their actions, a seal was placed over the black egg, prohibiting entrance into the chamber. These dreamers also had their own protection. At the base of Lurien's spire,
hated
the
those
Watcher
guys.
Knights guarded access to their master's body. Motomon's body was protected by a giant jellyfish named Umu. On top of this, Motomon entrusted her servant Quirrell with a mask which would be required to break an additional seal she had placed over herself. So she basically is double wrapping herself. As for Hera, we're not really sure what protected her, since it is never actually seen in-game. We don't know where this creature is hiding, but whoever it is, they really suck at their job. Now there appears to be one more element to the Pale King's plan, involving the Weavers. Hidden away in the Weaver's den
Oh.
is an incomplete seal of binding, woven from silk. This design prominently features the Hollow Knight's head, and can be found in the White Palace, as well as blocking the exit during the Hollow Knight fight. Silk spools created by the Weavers can be found in the Stag Station in Deepnest, as well as the Stag Station next to the White Palace. These spools can also be found in the Pale King's workshop. We know that the Weavers were closely tied to Hera and Hornet, so their actions might have been a part of the deal between the Pale King and Hera. Once the Hollow Knight was ready, the Radiance was somehow channeled into the vessel, which was then placed inside of a giant black egg located in the Forgotten Crossroads. This egg was built to sustain the Hollow Knight, and itself appears to be fashioned from void. The Hollow Knight was chained up, and the entrance to the black egg was locked behind a powerful seal created by the three dreamers. Initially, this convoluted plan actually worked, and the infection was successfully contained. Memorials to the Hollow Knight and the Dreamers were erected in the City of Tears and the Resting Grounds. But this is the part of the story where things get a little bit hazy.
Okay.
By the time these statues were constructed, citizens had taken to writing on parchment woven from spider silk, which was all destroyed when water started pouring down onto the city. We don't know how
So
long the
paper's
Hollow Knight was
rare.
able to completely contain the infection. Bugs from Dirtmouth used to go to the Temple of the Black Egg to pray, saying they felt at peace within the walls. But after a while, they stopped going, perhaps indicating that the infection was beginning to leak out again. The infectious air continued to seep through Hallownest for years, eventually even reaching the deepest parts of the kingdom. As it turns out, the Pale King's pure vessel wasn't quite so pure after all. The Hollow Knight had been tarnished by an idea instilled. While the game never explicitly tells us what that idea was, it does hint strongly at what it might be. Hidden away in the White Palace is a memory showing the Hollow Knight and the Pale King sharing a moment. The
Okay.
Hollow Knight might have developed a parental bond to the Pale King. And who could blame it? The Pale King is a pretty great dad after all. You know, if you ignore the infanticide and everything. Remember those smug mushroom dickheads? Well,
Yeah.
it turns out their trust in the Pale King was a complete mistake. That shared mind isn't looking too good now, is it? In the fungal core, the corpse of a giant mushroom lies dormant. Its final thoughts were, "Pale worm, what good to see a demise unavoidable?" This could imply that the Pale King always knew that his kingdom was doomed. All he could do was delay the inevitable. This is likely the moment when Hallownest, as it once was, entirely collapsed.
It's
The
kind
Hollow
of
Knight
like
had not
that,
completely stopped the infection, and while it may have
kinda
taken
like
a
the
while,
idea of, like,
Hallownest was eventually
if
brought
you
low.
know you're gonna
It's at
be
this
in a
point that
train
characters
wreck,
and areas
do you
begin to
brace
resemble
for
as we know them
impact,
in-game.
or,
When it became
you
clear
know,
that the Hollow Knight was
do
not
you
able to
just let it
contain the
happen?
Radiance, the
Kinda
Pale
one
King
of those
resorted to his
things.
final plan. He fucked off, hiding himself, his White Palace, and his Pale Court in the Dream World. At
Wait,
this
good
point, all of the
phrases.
furniture in the palace was covered under white sheets, similar to how people in the real world cover their furniture while away on long trips. The palace was also completely covered with thorns and buzzsaws, similar to how people in the real world cover their houses with thorns and buzzsaws.
Yeah,
The Pale King would
gotta
eventually pass away while
restock those
sitting on his throne in the
buzzsaws,
White
you know?
Palace. There's no confirmation on what killed him, but there are a few things to consider. The throne room is incredibly dark compared to the rest of the palace, and the particle effects and ambient track in this room are identical to that of the Abyss. All of the king's molds surrounding the Pale King are dead. The ancient basin itself also has become stained with the presence of void, as it can be seen as high as the rundown elevator shaft leading back to
Yeah.
the city. Remember that bug that was sealed away in the abyss to make sure the lighthouse wasn't turned off? Well, the lighthouse was turned off. I guess that whole living with purpose thing is a crock of shit after all. It seems as though the Sea of Void itself actually convinced this bug to betray his king and turn off the lighthouse. Now I know what you're thinking. Exactly how conscious is the Void? Is the Void able to think for itself? Can it form strategies? Does it host a podcast? Well, according to this Chozo statue ripoff, the Void is powerful, but not unified. So while it can thrash around at things that come near it, or call out in unison to turn off a light, it's not a single conscious being. Getting back to the Pale King, one could argue that the Void might have played a role in his ultimate demise, and I've argued that viewpoint in the past, but we have to remember that there isn't enough evidence to know for sure. As an expert lawyer and a good friend of mine, Johnny Cochran, once said, "Any evidence that the Void was involved in the Pale King's death is circumstantial. My name is Johnny Cochran." Just above the White Palace, the bugs in the City of Tears weren't faring much better. Even if we ignore the fact that the infection was still around, there were other issues that helped lead to the city's downfall. Due to the gates being sealed, some bugs resorted to cannibalism in order to avoid starvation. And there's also that metric fuckton of corpses lining the walls of the Soul Sanctum. When all was said and done, the only citizen left standing is Eternal Emelita, who just laughs her ass off about it like she's a fucking Dark Souls character. The White Lady ends up in a cocoon deep within the Queen's gardens. She decided to place bindings on herself in order to keep her from spreading her seed. She claims that this is because of the shame she feels in helping the Pale King create the vessels, but honestly, it's probably just her kink. The White Lady also diminished her power, possibly as a way to keep herself hidden from unwanted visitors. Outside her cocoon, Drya stood guard, protecting her queen from the violent traitor mantises. Drya is eventually killed off by these bugs, which is actually pretty pathetic if you think about it. I mean, we're talking like the Netgear WPN824N N150 wireless router pathetic. Speaking of great knights dying pathetically, let's move on to Hagemel. Hagemel held the city crest, a key used to open one of the gates to the City of Tears. At some point, Hagemel's armor shell was stolen by a maggot. Now, maggots were generally looked down upon and forced to do menial labor. They were incredibly weak, and basically deserved all of the discrimination they got. But this one maggot decided to turn the tide, so he stole Hagemel's shell so that he could defend his downtrodden brothers. His actions weren't motivated by the infection, but instead was the result of how hierarchical caste systems will always lead to revolution from the working class, and that true freedom can only be achieved blah blah blah, capitalism is bad, subscribe to my Patreon. Ogre moved to the Royal Waterways and started living in shit, changing his name to Dung Defender. Now I love wallowing in shit as much as the next guy, but you'd have to really love shit to put up with living with the flukes. The Dung Defender kept an unwavering sense of duty and loyalty to the king, and love for his fellow knights, so much so that he made shit statues of them. How nice. Ogrim acted as the defender of the Pipeways, as well as Isma's Grove. A section of the Royal Waterways became filled with acid, and in the middle of it all rests Isma's corpse, which has been overcome by plant life. Isma is likely the one responsible for this acid blight, but we have no idea what happened to her.
See, I've been there,
whereabouts during this time are fairly mysterious. We know
anything.
that she departed Deep Nest and didn't return until the events of the game. At some point, she took to guarding Halnest from intruding warriors, as well as the cast-off shell in the Kingdom's Edge. Despite the Kingdom's woes at large, fortunately this fate did not befall one of the fandom's favorite characters. The Menderbugs continued to fix the broken signs and wayposts of Halnest. From a diary entry, we can see that one Menderbug in particular had found himself on the precipice of a long and loving relationship.
Hello again, diary. Not long now until the next Minder Bash. For us stealthy types, we're a riotous bunch when we get together, and Minderberry kept flashing me that smile. It might be time to muster my courage and act on it. I love my home and my life, but sharing it with another? Why, that'd be the berry on top.
Greenpath also underwent some changes during this time. The Mosskin were waiting for Un's call, which would bring them back into the dream they were originally born from. But for some reason, Un's strength deteriorated. We don't know why this happened exactly. Was it due to the White Lady claiming part of her kingdom? Was it somehow due to the infection? Some Mosskin believe that Un went into hiding, but it appears as though Un is, in fact, calling to her children. But many of the Mosskin are unable to hear her call. Instead, many Mosskin seem to have taken the Radiance's infection into their leaves, which might explain why Greenpath became overgrown with vegetation despite Un's deteriorating powers. Mossy vagabonds even openly chose to forsake Un and worship the Radiance. Another tribe to be screwed over by the Radiance is the Hive, which fell to the infection after the death of their leader, Hive Queen Vespa. But it appears as though this had little effect on their civilization. The Radiance's hive mind was already familiar to the bees, since the Hive probably operated under something similar already. So in other words, the Hive probably made out the best in this whole situation. Let's turn our attention back to the Moths. After all, it's their god that keeps killing everybody. Well, the Moth tribe didn't fare too well, actually, as pretty much the entire tribe died out. The only known survivor is the Seer. Despite the loss of her tribe, the seer continued to tend to the graves in the resting grounds, while also waiting the arrival of the Wielder, a mysterious being that her tribe has dreamt of for a while. In the Kingdom's Edge, the land became covered in ash melting off of the worm's decomposing corpse. The Colosseum of Fools continued to thrive. The Lord Fool passed away at some point, but nobody really seems to notice or even care. The fools inside the Colosseum were infected, but still seem to have maintained control over themselves. It seems possible that these bugs took in the infection willingly, similar to the Traitor Lord and his followers. This would have given them an edge in combat, similar to using steroids, but without the whole shrinking testicles thing. However, even the Traitor Lord and his followers went mad, so what makes these fools any more special? As for the Pale King's champion, the Pale Lurker, well, she just went the normal kind of insane. There appears to have been another unforeseen event with the Pale King's plan. When the Hollow Knight was originally chosen, the door to the Abyss was sealed, trapping the discarded vessels within. But apparently, some vessels didn't get the memo. Vessel corpses can be found littered throughout the kingdom. There's one in the Ancient Basin, one in Greenpath, and several trapped in Nosk's lair and Deep Nest. Another vessel that escaped from the Abyss is the player character, the Knight. The exact details on how the vessels escaped the Abyss is unclear. There are indications that they might have slipped into Deep Nest through some old passageway, given void influences in part of the area, and all the corpses found in Nosk's lair. At some point, all entrances to Hallownest were closed off, with the old well and Earthmouth being the only way to sneak back in. Despite this, several people have wormed their way into the kingdom, with few ever returning. Characters like Relic Seeker Lem seemed content to just pillage artifacts from the ruined kingdom, but other bugs seemed interested in something greater. In the Howling Cliffs rests the corpse of a member of the Grim Troop. The task of this bug appears to have been to seek out Hallownest, so that the troop might be summoned to the kingdom in the future. The Grim Troop are basically a group of bugs that serve a higher being known as the Nightmare Heart. The troop keeps the heart alive by feeding on the nightmares of fallen kingdoms. This process also involves sacrificing the troop master to his own child because,
Wait, why he kind of look like Stolas from Hell of a Boss? Why he kind of look like Stolas? He's like if Stolas and Bendy and the Ink Machine crossed over. That's because you didn't activate the DLC like I told you to. Well, I didn't know I was gonna meet a gay. I would love to meet a fashionable gay vampire, okay? I would have loved that. Also, I don't know if they're gay. I'm just saying it because headcanons are fun.
hey, look at this cool ass boss battle. Another important group that traveled to Hallownest are the Godseekers. After being abandoned by their old gods, the gods of thunder and the gods of rain, these bugs left their home in the land of storms, seeking out a new god to worship. The Godseekers looked to gods to save them from their own silent mind. While traveling through the wastelands, the Godseekers constructed devices called God Tuners, which helped them seek out new gods. Through this device, they were able to detect the lingering power of the Pale King and find their way to Hallownest. When they arrived, however, the Godseeker was forced into hibernation. She was encased in a strange sarcophagus-like cocoon, which was itself chained up with a lock. It's not clear how this forced hibernation worked, seeing as the cocoon appears to have been made by the Godseeker herself. As for who put the cocoon in chains, I think the most likely candidate is the Dung Defender, considering how the Godseeker's cocoon is found in the Junk Pit in the waterways, an area the Dung Defender has tasked himself with protecting. This was the general picture of Hallownest after the Hollow Knight was sealed inside the Temple of the Black Egg. The kingdom was stuck in a kind of stasis, with the Pale King civilization destroyed and the Radiants unable to break free from her chains. The Pale King was rebelling against nature, trying to keep his work standing indefinitely. The stasis over Hallownest held for an age. How long is that exactly? Well, we have no idea. As I'm sure you've noticed, there really isn't a timeline for anything that happens in this game. We also have no idea how long any of these bugs can actually live. Elderbug wasn't around to see the Stagways open, but we know several other characters were, implying that Elderbug is probably one of the youngest characters in the whole game. But this stasis over Hallownest wasn't going to last forever. At some point, the Radiance erupted out of the Hollow Knight, cracking its shell, and releasing a loud and powerful roar. The amount of infection leaking out of the Hollow Knight became even greater. The many corpses that lined the roads and cities of the kingdom sprang to life with the amplified power of the infection. This strengthened infection prompted the departure of the Weavers back to their old home. Now this old home might actually be Farloom, the kingdom in which Hollow Knight Silksong takes place. But the amount of knowledge we have about Silksong right now is pathetic, so I'm not saying that's confirmed or anything. This is also around the time that Quirrell arrives back in Hallownest. His memory of Monomon appears to have been clouded due to his time outside of Hallownest. These events are depicted in the Quirrell prequel comic, which also shows an image of the Hollow Knight with a pre-cracked shell. This could mean that Quirrell's arrival happens roughly the same time the Hollow Knight's shell cracks. At around the same time Quirrell arrives in Hallownest, we also see the arrival of the player character, who is commonly referred to as the Knight. The Knight was one of the lucky vessels that was able to make its way out of the Abyss. Somehow the Knight ended up venturing beyond Hallownest and into the wilds beyond. It's implied that the Knight was called to Hallownest by either the sealed Hollow Knight or the Radiance within. Regardless, once a Knight shows up and yeets itself off this cliff, the actual game of Hollow Knight finally begins. Now, there's a lot of details we could get into. Hallownest is full of NPCs and bosses, each with their own stories to tell.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I don't think we need to go through all of them, since their stories are relatively straightforward. For example, let's look at the Brooding Moloch. So why is the Brooding Moloch brooding? Because all its friends are dead.
Yeah.
And there you go, that's the lore for the Brooding Moloch. Also, it's the only character in the game with a visible asshole.
Okay, stop.
Now, did you really need me to explain that to you? Probably not. So instead, I'm just going to talk about the interactions relating to Hollow Knight's main story. The Knight is eventually noticed by Hornet, who lures it deep into Greenpath. There, Hornet attempts to kill the Knight, claiming that she knows what it would try to do. At this point, Hornet views the Knight as being too weak. After the fight, Hornet can be found in the City of Tears, next to the statue of the Hollow Knight. Hornet mentions that the Knight has gained a resilience, due to the time it spent in the void beyond Hallownest. This could be referring to the fact that some of those who leave Hallownest lose their memories, meaning the Knight would have no memories of its own tragic conception. Hornet tells the Knight that if it seeks to continue the stasis that keeps Hallownest standing, it must seek the Graven Ash, which is referring to the Kingdom's Edge. At this moment, Hornet sees the Knight as a possible replacement for the Hollow Knight. Basically, the Knight could break the seals that keep the Hollow Knight locked away, defeat the Hollow Knight, and contain the infection itself. It's at this point that I should mention that Hollow Knight actually has 5 different endings, because of course it would. I'm going to be explaining each of these endings in this video, as they each give us a different glimpse into the mechanics of Hollow Knight's world.
Ooh,
Now,
okay,
to get the
perfect.
easiest ending to Hollow Knight, Hornet's instructions to go to the Kingdom's Edge can be ignored completely. If the Knight stumbles upon the resting grounds, the 3 dreamers will appear and cast the Knight into the Dream Realm. There, Seer will come to the Knight's rescue and grant it the Dream Nail, a special blade that can tear the veil between the real world and the dream world. With the Dream Nail, the Knight can venture to the resting places of the 3 dreamers, curb stomp their asses, and unlock the entrance to the Black Egg. Inside the egg, the Knight finds the Hollow Knight chained up,
This is what I
silently
did.
watching over it. Once the chains are broken, the Hollow Knight screams with that familiar Radiance roar and pursues the Knight. As the fight progresses, the Hollow Knight starts trying to kill itself, Quirrell style. But then the Radiance starts using the Hollow Knight's body to perform her own attacks. Once defeated, the Hollow Knight begins to spew infection all over the place. The Knight can then focus the infection into itself. This results in the first ending of the game, called Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
In this ending, the Knight usurps the Hollow Knight, prolonging the stasis over Hallownest. New chains and bindings appear out of fuck if I know, and contain the Knight, and a new seal is placed over the entrance to the Black Egg. Now there is one giant question looming over this ending. Can the Knight actually contain the infection indefinitely, or will the Radiance still manage to break free one day?
Yeah.
Before we answer this question, let's look at some of the other events that can transpire while playing the game.
Okay.
If the player chooses to go to Kingdom's Edge, Hornet will challenge the Knight one last time, as a
Yeah.
final test of strength.
And I followed.
After
I did
her
that.
defeat, Hornet allows the Knight to access the cast-off shell, where the Pale King was originally hatched. By interacting with this egg, the Knight's shell is marked with the King's brand,
Yeah.
technically making the Knight the new ruler of Hallownest.
I'm the king.
With the King's brand, the Knight can now open the entrance to the Abyss and discover the place of its birth. When leaving the Abyss, the Knight can encounter Hornet again, where for the first time, Hornet suggests that there are actually 2 outcomes the Knight can enact. She tells the Knight that it can either prolong Hallownest's stasis, or face the heart of the Kingdom's infection. Within the Knight, Hornet sees a chance for change. Instead of just replacing the Hollow Knight, Hornet believes that it may be possible to get rid of the infection completely by using the void inside of the Knight. After visiting the Abyss and obtaining the Shade Cloak, the Knight is capable of reaching the White Lady, hidden away in the Queen's Gardens. The White Lady tells the Knight that she has been awaiting a vessel to accept a gift, that gift being one half of a charm called the King Soul, which she claims will give the Knight more power. The White Lady goes on to explain that she can feel the weakening of the Hollow Knight within her roots. She tells the Knight that it is free of the blemishes that made the Hollow Knight a flawed vessel. From this dialogue, it is implied that the Knight truly is a pure vessel, capable of containing the Radiance successfully. But it's not quite that simple, so we're gonna have to dig a bit deeper into this. Basically,
Okay.
we're gonna need to answer a simple question. What exactly does it mean to be a Hollow Knight?
Yeah.
Despite the White Lady's words, we have a number of instances where the characters and item descriptions mention that the Knight has a will, and maybe even a mind. But from the Pale King's dialogue when describing the Hollow Knight, it is stated that a pure vessel has no mind or will. So is the White Lady wrong? Or maybe even lying? Her eyes have been clouded by time, and she can be tricked into thinking that Ogrim is in the room when the Knight is wearing the Defender's Crest charm. She also thinks that Dryia is still alive, which,
Nope.
so maybe the White Lady is just senile. My problem with that theory is that the White Lady states that the vessels stand out to her clearly in a misted world, due to them being her spawn. She also questions whether or not the Knight sought her aid, which would imply that the Knight must have some kind of will.
That's our mom.
So for whatever reason, the White Lady thinks the Knight is still capable of containing the Radiance, even if it's still able to make decisions. After all, the Hollow Knight was considered pure, but they still taught it how to wield a fucking sword. I mean, if the knight were truly and completely hollow in a literal sense, it probably shouldn't even be able to walk, or draw a map, or open a goddamn bank account. In short, this whole concept of being hollow is so abstract and hard to define, I don't really feel comfortable giving a solid answer on whether or not the knight is or isn't truly hollow, and I think the game leaves room open for other interpretations. Of course, the White Lady's gift is useless without the other half of the King Soul. In order to reach it, however, the knight must travel to the White Palace, locked inside the body of a King's Mold. In order to bypass the seal, the knight must use a fully awakened Dream Nail. It can do this by bringing 1800 essence to the seer, allowing her to sharpen the weapon's blade. If the knight does this, the seer remarks that the knight truly is the wielder that her tribe has been dreaming of. There's no explicit reason why the Moth tribe was dreaming about this supposed wielder so much, but it seems like they believe the wielder would wash away the crimes the Moth tribe committed by turning their backs on the Radiants. The seer seems to know that the knight might kill the Radiants, and she seems accepting of it, ready for her and her tribe to disappear and be forgotten forever.
Well, what did he say?
With the awoken Dream Nail in hand, the
He
knight
said
can travel to the Pale
1800,
King's
huh?
refuge and locate the other half of the King's Soul charm. When equipped, the King's Soul provides a never-ending supply of soul, making it almost useful if it weren't for the insanely high cost of the charm, and the painfully slow rate at which it increases, and the fact that the charm will get replaced in about 5 minutes after you get it. The King's Soul charm itself symbolizes the union between two higher beings. To me, this implies that the King's Soul is a representation of a vessel, which also was created by the union of two higher beings.
Okay.
With
Stop
the King's Soul in their
cockroach.
inventory, the knight now gains access to an area in the abyss called the Birthplace. In this massive pile of vessel shells, the knight can find a giant egg. Dream nailing the egg allows the knight to access its own memory when it was cast down into the abyss. From viewing that memory, the King's Soul charm is replaced with the Void Heart charm. The recollection of this event allows the knight to come to terms with the void inside itself. Once the knight has the Void Heart, the Shades in the Abyss no longer attack it, and that strange creature that gives the knight the Shade Cloak calls it the Lord of Shades. In other words, the knight has now bound the once fragmented void under its own will, allowing it to control the void in a powerful new way. With the union of the Void, the Pale King, and the White Lady, the knight has gained a strength before unseen. It is with this charm that 2 additional endings become unlocked. Hornet will now be standing outside of the Black Egg, offering to help the knight should the opportunity arrive. Midway through the fight with the Hollow Knight, Hornet rushes into battle, subduing the Hollow Knight and piercing its shell. It's at this point that the knight is given
Hornet
the
can
perfect
show up at
opportunity
the
to enter
fight?
into the mind of its sibling, fighting the source of the infection head on, and finally putting an end to the Radiance's tyranny.
That explains one of the
Or it can
endings
just
I
stand
saw.
there and let Hornet get knocked unconscious. If the knight finishes off the Hollow Knight as usual, the sealed sibling ending occurs. Basically, it's the same as the Hollow Knight ending, but now Hornet is in the room too, and her face appears on the door of the Black Egg. It's not clear what exactly this means for Hallownest. This might imply that Hornet is now a dreamer, but she's inside the temple, meaning that no one can actually get in there to kill her should the knight ever start leaking infection. At the same time, Hornet mentions that the bindings of the Black Egg would drain her, so she's probably just going to die anyway, right? Generally, people consider this to be one of the worst endings, but it's worth pointing out that Team Cherry doesn't support any one ending as being the true ending.
Oh wait, what is
Each
this?
ending is canonical in its own right,
Oh wait, hold on.
and Cherry doesn't support
All endings are equally canon. We're not into true endings. You choose the path yourself. We'll do our best in all future Hollow Knight content to account for all of them. I don't really see how you could account. There's stark differences. Ha.
support any one ending as being the true ending. Each ending is canonical in its own right, and honestly, this ending isn't the worst. At least the Knight and Hornet will get to spend some quality time together. If the Knight does dream nail the Hollow Knight, it will be taken to an arena where it can finally fight the Radiance head on. But the Knight isn't alone, as the other Shades from the Abyss will appear in order to help corner the Radiance. Eventually the Radiance gets trapped in the tendrils of the Void. The Knight bitch slaps her a couple times, and then the Radiance is consumed into the darkness. The Black Egg then appears to turn to shadows and the Void seeps down into the ground. Hornet awakens to find the Knight's broken shell lying on the floor. We get one final shot of the Shades in the Abyss going to rest, and the game is over. This ending is called the Dream No More ending.
I
The
don't
Radiance
like
is
that
gone,
ending.
and Hallownest is finally free from her infection. Now I think it's fair to ask a few questions about how the Dream No More ending comes about. When the Hollow Knight was initially chosen to become the pure vessel, the Abyss was sealed up and the rest of the vessels were left to rot away. But somehow, vessels ended up outside of the Abyss, and then one of those vessels was used to replace the Hollow Knight. Exactly how much of this operation was planned, if at all? The White Lady was waiting for a vessel. Did she have any communication with Hornet? Hornet was guarding the King's Brand, the only way for a vessel to enter the Abyss.
Okay.
How did she know it was necessary to guard the King's Brand from weaker vessels? Hell, if the vessels did escape the Abyss by themselves, wouldn't it be pointless to guard the King's Brand, since the vessels could just creep back into the Abyss the same way? I'm not going to provide any good answers to these questions, because God forbid I answer anything in this entire video, but I do want to point out that no plans to...
How do I do it frame by frame? It's like this, right? No, not the captions. No. How do you go frame by frame? I thought it was brackets. But I don't think it's brackets. Okay, hold on. We're gonna slow down this. Oh, this sounds terrible. I'm so sorry.
Because God forbid I answer any.
Questions I haven't answered. How did the white lady get around? Why aren't the infected bugs in the Colosseum mindless? What's the deal with pale beings? Is this a commentary on race or something? Did Ogrim give Yzma a dirty... Wait. A dirty what? Ah, shit. Sorry. We gotta watch this one more time. Sorry.
The same
I gotta get good at
way.
pausing. Hold on.
I'm not going
I'm
to
sorry. This sounds terrible.
questions
I'm so sorry. This sounds awful.
Because God forbid
Okay, hold on. We're about to get to the part.
answer
Okay.
anything in this entire-
How did the Hollow Knight grow? Why does the Collector probably diddle? Where's the Deep Nest boss? Seriously, what the fuck? Bad game to... There really isn't a Deep Nest boss. And I'm happy with that. Why is Un's strength decreasing? Why are we here? Just to suffer?
video.
Okay. Cool. I'm satisfied with that. It was something about like a sachet or something. I don't know. Let's go back.
But I do want to point out that no plans to actually produce the Dream No More ending are explicitly stated in-game, so we can only speculate as to whether or not the White Lady or Hornet, or maybe even the Pale King, knew that they could defeat the Radiants by creating a Lord of Shades, like the Knight. Regardless, the next two endings were definitely not planned. In fact, the last two endings that were added in the Godmaster update almost feel out of place. The Godseekers basically hijack everything to the point where you don't even have to enter the Temple of the Black Egg to beat the game. That's like beating Mario Bros without ever seeing
What?
Bowser. But on the other hand, the Godmaster endings basically reinforce that Hallownest does not exist in a vacuum, which can help the world of Hollow Knight feel more real. Because
You
what
don't-
else is reality but just
What?
a bunch of random chaotic
You
stuff
don't
happening
have to
all the
beat
time?
the Hollow?
If the Knight
What?
finds the Godseeker in the Junk Pit, it will be able to enter her mind and refight all the bosses in the game. This is part of the Godseeker's ritual. They basically attune to the resonance of gods through ritual combat. This allows them to ascend their minds higher, and eventually, through the use of godly focus, achieve communication with the god sleeping in Hallownest's heart, the Radiance. Now I know what you're thinking. That's a pretty convoluted little religious practice they have going on here. What's next? Are they going to start measuring the Knight's Theon levels? It's pretty complicated, but the point is, these Godseekers have some serious capabilities to fuck things up in Hallownest, as we're about to see. As the Knight makes it further and further through the four Pantheons, the Godseekers get closer and closer to making contact with the Radiance, locked away inside the Hollow Knight. At the end of the fourth Pantheon, the Radiance makes herself aware in this strange reunion cutscene between the vessels. But she isn't the only one to make an appearance. The Void itself appears to go on the attack, rising up to meet the Radiance's call. It's at this point that the final challenge, the Pantheon of Hallownest, becomes available. The Godseeker finally acknowledges the Knight as being more than just a simple cringer.
I'd argue that the stalking devout one after the other are the boss of Harristune. That's fair. Yeah,
And they begin to
that's
watch
fair.
the Knight more intently. After defeating like a bazillion bosses in the final Pantheon, the Knight finally comes face to face with the Absolute Radiance, a stronger, more enhanced version of the game's final boss. Finally, the stage is set. After roughly 40 minutes of intense agony and tedious boss battles, the Knight has finally reached the ultimate enemy, responsible for the destruction of Hallownest. Truly, this will be a battle for the ages. But first, let's check in on our old pal Menderbug. As it turns out, he's still alive when the Knight arrives in Hallownest, and he's still fulfilling his duty after all this time. Let's take one last look at his diary.
My lovely diary. Someone's gone and broke my favorite sign, right there at the top of the crossroads. It keeps happening too. But you know, I just can't get mad about it. I should be thanking them, really. More chances to fix that beautiful, complex sign. And I've stocked up on spare parts, so I've no fear it'll ever stay broken for long.
Unfortunately, the only way to ever read the Menderbug's diary is to kill him in cold blood. I'm not sure why Team Cherry thought this was necessary, but the general consensus on Reddit is that they are bloodthirsty warmongers, so it checks out. But at least Menderbug's last moments will be spent fixing one of his favorite signs in the Forgotten Crossroads. It's comforting to think that his final seconds of consciousness were spent in total bliss, before we sent him hurtling into the infinite chasm that is Oblivion. Well anyways, The alternate fight between the Knight and the Radiants plays out differently than in the vanilla ending. This time around, the Knight is not accompanied by any shades. Instead, after defeating the Radiants, the Knight seems to transform into this monstrosity. Now this creature goes by many names. The God of Gods, the Lord Shade, the Devourer, the Void Entity. But I don't really like any of those, so I will just call him Bill. Bill proceeds to completely annihilate the Radiants in spectacular fashion.
I just call
We
you
are then
Bill.
treated to the Embrace the Void
That's
ending.
me energy
Bill comes
right
back down
there.
from the sky, dropping into the rest of Godhome. The Godseeker starts to get pulled into Bill by Void tendrils. We then cut to the Godseeker in the junk pit. Void starts leaking out of her eyes, and it appears as though Bill is making an escape back into the real world, which is probably a bad thing? Finally, we see Hornet standing outside of the Black Egg as the infection begins to disappear from nearby vines. Hornet hears footsteps coming from inside the Black Egg as the Hollow Knight reveals itself to her, and the two prepare for combat.
Whoa.
So from this cutscene, we can see that the Radiance's death in Godhome actually did kill her for real, meaning that the infection over Hallownest is now gone. This means the seals inside of the Black Egg probably wore off, allowing the Hollow Knight to escape its prison. In other words, the Embrace the Void ending is a goddamn cliffhanger, and we have no idea how Team Cherry plans to follow this up. The Hollow Knight is running loose in Hallownest, and the Knight has transformed into a raging void monster that might try to destroy the entire kingdom, or at least what's left of it. What's even more strange about this ending is that the announced sequel, Hollow Knight Silksong, doesn't seem to be related to this ending at all.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different shit show. Obviously, the biggest mystery surrounding this ending is the appearance of Bill. Did this creature exist in the void already, or was it somehow willed into existence by the power of the Godseekers? Did the Knight turn into this thing, or did it just become a part of it? Examining a statue of this creature and other forms of the Knight grant the player a Hunter's Journal entry for an ancient artifact called the Void Idol, which might imply this creature might have been worshipped by the ancient civilization. But again, that's pure speculation. We don't know what this worship of Void exactly looked like. Maybe the Void they worshipped took the form of something more sinister. There is one thing we know about this monster though. It's weak to flowers. Yes, these things.
Flowers.
As it turns out, those delicate flowers that Samir has stockpiled up her ass are actually useful for something. They contain a strange power that even deters the White Lady from touching one. The Godseeker, however, is dumb enough to accept a flower from the Knight. If the player does this, instead of Void being released out into the world, this flower pulls a no you, and the Godseeker and Void disappear into thin air. The flower itself is described as giving off a pale light, which appears to connect it to the pale beings. Like I said before, pale beings appear to be some form of top-tier gods. As of right now, we are only aware of two, the Pale King and the White Lady, but the fact that Zamir brought these pale flowers from a faraway land implies that there are definitely more of them out there. Another small hint of the existence of pale beings are the pale ore items that can be found all over Hallownest. Did these come from the Pale King, or possibly some other pale being? And what exactly are they? Are they poop? In general, the Godmaster endings appear to be doing a lot of setup for future Hollow Knight content. Like I said before, Hollow Knight Silksong doesn't seem to connect to these events on the surface, so we are in a bit of a bind when trying to discuss what these endings actually mean for the greater narrative Team Cherry is building. There's definitely a lot more to consider about what the pale beings are and what properties they possess.
At this point,
and we also have plenty of questions surrounding the Void and how bugs have interacted with it in the
I
past.
think at this point, Hollow
It
Knight
almost
2
feels like
would be
we're looking
better
through a
than
keyhole,
Silksong.
trying to grasp onto the totality of Team Cherry's creation.
Don't stab
How powerful
me.
are creatures like Bill and the worms? Where did
Don't
things
stab
like the
me
Void
for
even come
saying
from
that.
to begin with? How much bigger is the world beyond Hallownest? Is Bardoon into butt stuff? But of course, that's the appeal of a game like Hollow Knight. Having all of the answers to every question would just ruin the mystery of the world. Plus, if we didn't have questions like this to waste our time on, then what else would we be doing with our lives? Go outside?
Ew.
Ugh.
I don't
And
want to
so
touch
this video
grass.
comes to an end. Now I know the average attention span of a YouTube viewer is 9 minutes, so let me leave you with a few takeaways. 1. Hollow Knight is a game about bugs. I know this may come as a shock, but it's true. Watch the video again, and this time, pay attention. You'll notice right away, I promise.
Pick up where we left
2.
off from our
Murdering your
endings.
own babies might not be such a good idea after all. I mean, this is obviously just my interpretation of the game's lore. Other people might have different views on the subject of murdering babies, and every opinion is valid, so I don't want to step on anyone's toes or anything. 3. Menderbug is fucking dead. 4.
Oh.
Nothing is certain. This video probably has a few flaws in it. Trying to construct a cohesive narrative with the information found in Hollow Knight isn't exactly straightforward. I'm sure my views will change in the future, and I encourage you to explore the lore yourself. 5. And this last point is fairly obvious, but I should mention it anyway. Cory in the House is the best anime.
It's a party every week, baby.
Aw.
That's right, I'm in the house.
Aw, Cory.
Just a little bit. I'm your man.
Oh, that was funny. Sabo, stop fucking biting my leg. Sabo's been biting my leg and clawing at it for like the last 5 minutes. And I've been trying not to like show it on my face. Oh my god. That was interesting. I definitely feel like I got more information. There's definitely things where, even if I went back, you guys, like, even if I went back and played through, there's things that I just would not have figured out. I appreciate y'all thinking I'm smart. I'm just not. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're being a monkey. Sabo got stuck. He got stuck hanging. Are you okay? Did you hurt your nail? Okay, you're a good boy. You're fine. You're good. You're good. You're fine. Oh, well, now I know everything about Hollow Knight. Oh, there was another video. Hold on. There was that other video. What's this other one? Ooh, storytelling. Okay, just because it's all about music, I'm a little scared. But yeah, I think, don't worry, Ray. I think we're wrapping up stream here as well. Oh my gosh. But hey, we're done with Hollow Knight. So what's next? But yes, please go get some sleep, Faye. Have a good night. Or morning. It's 5 a.m. Yeah, or morning. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. You've kind of been here the whole way of the journey, so I appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna do some wrap-up chatting, and then we'll probably wrap it up. I wanted to stream for 3 hours, and believe it or not, it's been 3 hours. Time to, like, get off my chair. What are you doing? Sabo was just here. Oh my gosh. But, so plans. So, I don't think, it's kind of up in the air. Either next week or the following week, I will be taking off from streaming just because I need to desperately work on some stuff IRL. I feel like it makes sense for it to be next week, but I haven't streamed in a long time and I kind of still feel like I want to stream, so I'm gonna kind of play it by ear. But what do we have coming up next? Well, I like to always have one kind of long form game and then like some short form games mixed in. I'm a little stuck because this was much longer than I anticipated. And what I wanted to play after this were the Persona games. Those are incredibly long, I'm aware. So I don't really know. I think we might revisit some games that I was going to start, some Pokemon games that I was going to start Nuzlocke on or continue Nuzlocke on, and just do them as replays rather than, oh, don't worry. I have, Persona Golden and Persona 5 Royale. Yeah. So I was at least going to play Persona 5 at D-Dog's request. Yay. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out, yeah, Reload, Gold, yeah, I have Golden and I have Royale, so I have 4 and 5. So those were the next long plays that were planned. I just need to think of if we're gonna do Pokemon basically before or after that, because that's a lot. It would be a lot to go from Hollow Knight into another, like, super long. I think I need, like, a medium or medium short long Let's Play, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want something that's gonna be done in, like, 4 streams, you know? Actually, no, I do want something that's gonna be done in, like, 4 or 5 streams. But then I also want some games that I can finish, like, in a stream as well. So I'm gonna be looking into, I'll probably look into, like, some collabs, possibly. Maybe we can get some people to game with us on a couple of days or something. That might be fun. I'm addicted to Repo. I am very addicted to Repo. I am not ashamed to admit. I have a problem and I am addicted to Repo. Oh, it's bad. It's bad. Am I good at the game? I'm okay at the game. I'm better than most, I would say, at the game. I'm not amazing, but I definitely have some pretty cool strats, let me tell you. You and my girlfriend, I swear to God. Yes, please go to sleep, Ray, please. It's okay. VODs will always be here. We also have a VOD channel, so yeah. I'm addicted. I'm addicted. But thank you again so much, Ray. Have a good night. Go sleep. Good sleep. Yeah, no, I'm addicted to Repo. Me and Strabby are very addicted to Repo. Also, real quick, I just wanted to address something. I haven't addressed it in a hot minute because I haven't felt the need to. But every once in a while I see it pop up, so I just want to refresh everybody's minds. In the past, I would call Strabby by their name that I know them as. Strabby, at the beginning of this year, requested, or end of last year even, requested that I just refer to them as Strabby, or Strawberry, on streams and stuff. So I've seen some people in the chat be like, using names or, you know, questioning that in the past. Nobody really did today, but I just thought I'd mention it. If you happen to know her name, just call her Strabby, call her Strawberry, when you're in this chat. And yeah, don't ask why I'm calling my fiance, Strawberry, because that is why. It is upon her request. So yeah, nobody really did anything today. I realized it's been a hot minute since I've kind of addressed that, and I noticed it like starting to creep up a little bit more. So yeah, just that's why. So please refrain from calling her any other name other than Strawberry until she says otherwise. Ting ting ting. Thank you. As for other stuff that's coming up, so again, I have my big announcement on June 16th. And then we'll be doing a stream here on the 17th to kind of go over that announcement. And then probably at the end of June, honestly. Probably soon. Honestly, it could be sooner. It'll probably be end of June, beginning of July. Once I finish One Piece, I will be doing an entire stream of explaining in depth the entire plot of One Piece, explaining and introducing you to some of my theories for things moving forward. And yeah, just overall having fun. Doing a whole one stream in one go about One Piece. I'm gonna get a whole presentation together for you all, so that will take me a little bit of time. That's the thing that would take a while. But it's going to be made where if you are somebody who has never watched One Piece, but you're really interested in it, but you're like, I don't have the time, you will get all of the information you need to know about One Piece in that stream. So yeah, that is the goal. That is the goal. I decided that I wanted to do this when I got to about the 500 episode mark. I was like, you know what would be great? And I haven't seen anybody do this. And I'm sure people have, but like in my realm of the internet, I haven't seen people do this. And if they haven't done it in a very long time. And there's a lot of new information and stuff now. So it's like, what? But yeah, I don't feel like rating anybody tonight just cause like, I have to go to the bathroom. But yeah, why is my Fugi here? Go away, Fugi. Go away, Fugi. Thank you. But thank you all so much for watching and for being here. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening or whatever time it may be for you. Please take care of yourselves. Go drink a lot of water. Go take your pills. Go take your meds. Go take your meds. And yeah, just go have a good time, have a good night, make good choices. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And I'll see you next time. Bye! Bye-bye! Bye-bye! Sabo jumped on the desk to say goodbye to you. Sabo, you want to say goodbye? No, he wants to eat a cotton ball. I know. Oh. You want to tell everybody goodbye? Okay. He stepped on the mic. Okay. Goodbye!